See, I was very nice and polite in that world when I was poor, you know. I volunteered for fruits and vegetables. This man, like a savage, hunted animals and captured them. And one of the animals he captured was a fish that I assumed was dead, because every fish I cut before was dead. So the moment I stab it on the side of its neck, the shit jumps up, and I kid you not, it fucking looks at me in the face.
Oh shit! Hey, yo, check this out, man. It's your dog P right here, you know what I mean? What up, G's? What's poppin', my niggas? You know what I'm saying? You know how I do it, man. It's on it poppin', man. This is what we do, man. Run this shit, man.
Shit, I got plans, power movements, get on some rude shit. I keep living like this, I might lose it. My man's coming home from doing long ass bids. What up, Kiko? I ain't seen your ass since we was kids, it's all strange. My niggas locked down thinking long range, and see their names in the Daily News 3rd page. It sent a kite to my nigga killer. It only took one sword to put 7 holes in a squiller. A 3 to 9 spending most of his time inside the Bing, recline, and still came home with his shine.
Got a lot of fucking garbage ass rappers out here running around like these niggas ain't supposed to be rapping, son. You know what I mean? This game is meant for a select circle of few, man. I'm tired. You know what I mean? It's time to just let it out. A lot of corny ass niggas, man. A lot of corny rappers, man. I'm just like, yo, man. I could name a list of 100 corny ass rappers, yo, right now. You know I'm all deep to it, man. We from that era, man, where, yo, man, it's a select few, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a select few. And that's what it is today, man. I don't give a fuck, ain't nothing changed, man. Always remember that. Ain't nothing changed, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Check it out. What's going on, everybody? It's Wayne Harris chilling with his boy. God damn. Sergio. The last greatest man is a real life politician, everybody.
A real life politician. I wouldn't call myself a real life politician, but
What would you call yourself then?
just a person trying to do better and help inspire people to do better.
Oh man, it sounds like somebody to me, man. Sounds like a politician to me, right there.
Obviously not.
Alright, bro.
I drink too much. Yeah.
You drink too much? Well, we all drink a lot. But guess what, man? You're drinking with Dwayne nowadays, man. Right here, we in the gin and juice journeys right here.
Let's go.
Hell yeah, we living this life, we doing the thing. It's about to be New Year's in a few. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. For those who are tuning in, if you're not and you're watching this later on, appreciate that as well. So tell us, man, what you got planned for the new year?
Let's see. So what I've been doing lately is I've been cleaning every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been cleaning haphazardously. I've been cleaning little bits of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And I've been cleaning in a way that takes forever to clean because I'm so nostalgic about everything. So for the new year, what I'd like to do is just this year I turned 30.
Mm-hmm.
I want to cut off anything that does not that I don't see in the next 30 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally looking at everything I used to write, everything I used to paint, everything, all the ideas I have in my head, because I am one person.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I think we're all gifted with like plural potentiality, the ability to be many things, but we're one thing.
Indeed.
So I just feel like this year is about figuring out what are the 5-6 things that I can't live without doing, and then getting rid of the rest. So that's literally the next year. Now that's philosophically where I'm going into the year. That's just philosophically where I'm going. Job wise, looking to get into logistics and move freight, which is funny.
Mm-hmm.
So because where I grew up, people moved weight.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, went to college, did the military thing, and now I'm moving freight.
Indeed, man.
So
You're going the legit route in life.
Yes.
I
Still logistics though.
Still logistics, but legit. Give me some, player. Oh man. Me and you, we've known each other for a long time. Damn near 10 years now, man.
Near 10 years.
All the way back in 2012, we were dumbass little college students with loose ass brains and shit like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Now we're grown ass men out here living this life.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Indeed. We've come a long way, man. Come a long way. I remember back in the day, man, he was motherfucking broke as fuck. Broke as fuck, fishing for food, had a 5-pound bag of rice,
Oh yeah.
and a couple can of beans, and some goddamn, what it was, some vegetation we had foraged from some lady that owned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is literally no joke. When you're talking about vegetation that we foraged, so we went to St. Leo, which was in the middle of nowhere.
Bumfuck nowhere.
Great school, but if you don't have a car, it's
All right,
in the middle
school.
of nowhere. Across from this school, there was this lady who sold produce. So St. Leo in that area, Dade City, is very agrarian, and there's a lot of farms, and there's a lot of Whole Foods, and a lot of produce that's been taken straight from the land. And we made friends with the produce lady there. So she used to give us free vegetables or highly discounted vegetables. So, and I think we used to help her out too, here and there.
Yeah, you did at least.
Well, I volunteered.
Yeah, you volunteered at least. I was busy doing other things. I was busy in the fucking lake.
Fishing.
Yeah. It started off, I had a stick, a string, and a hook that I found on the pier.
Like Pokemon. You got the good rod.
Yeah, man. I tied the string to the stick, tied the string to the hook. Found some bread that was behind a fucking refrigerator that was stale as fuck. Broke it up, threw it into the edge, and the fish are dumb as fuck, man. They bite at anything you put down there. So I threw it down there. Fish bought it, pulled his ass straight up, put him in a little plastic bag. I remember I was so weak because I was so hungry. I didn't have the strength to kill him, right?
Yes.
So I would just put him in the bag and I would throw him in the freezer and then kill him that way.
Yeah, and then I remember coming home and you're like, oh, I got some fish. And I was like, damn, it's resorted to that. We're hunter-gathering in 2010 or 2012.
It was 2014?
Yeah.
2013.
2013. So in the future, I was bartering for produce, doing services for goods, and you were fishing for survival.
And you know what? You know what's crazy about it? You ever played Skyrim?
No, I haven't.
Well, Skyrim's a game that came out in 2011, right?
Yeah.
And it's been, how should I say, it's been re-released every couple of years. And they just, in November, did the 10th year anniversary of it, right?
Yeah.
And in that 10th year anniversary, guess what they added to it? The foraging, the fishing, and the gathering of fruit.
Okay.
Just exactly like we were doing, man.
Gotcha.
Exactly. I'm like, goddamn, no wonder I love this game. It's imitating my life. So it makes me wonder, does art imitate life or does life imitate art, goddamn?
Well, see, I think that when we separate art from life, we make a mistake, because art is life. Art is a communication. Anything that communicates emotion is art. So anything that can communicate. I think that what we do, you absorb in a day a certain amount of nutrients, right? So is that life that you're absorbing? Now when you absorb sodium and magnesium and iron, rocks, rare earth metals, when you absorb that, is that life that you're eating?
Well, those are the materials that not only are fundamental to like the building blocks of our universe, of our world, but towards our lives as organic beings, right? Because in reality, we're just all beings, all human beings, all creatures, even this block, this house right here, these trees right here, they're all made of subatomic particles that are just like, can be broken down to this is sodium, this is iron, this is magnesium, this is erythium, this is uranium, you know what I'm saying, like that. And we all have a little bit of that within us. So in reality, we are just made of the blocks that create the universe. We are as much a part of the earth as, the earth is a part of us.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, 100%.
You know, the same thing that goes in the batteries that powers batteries, alkaline and shit. We have alkaline in our bodies.
I think that when we come from, you know, we absorb the earth, we're a part of the earth, and, you know, we expand a bit more out into reality, and we create art in that expansion. So I think that art, I think it's like what happened first, the chicken or the egg. Well, does it matter what happened first, art or the man? You can be inspired by art, or you can inspire art.
Yeah, because a lot of the best art is inspired by true realities. And some of like the most phenomenal things, the most grandiose moments in history have been inspired by art. You know what I'm saying? Because the human imagination is vast, it's great, but in reality it always has some basis in reality of things that have happened before. Like many artists, when they paint things, they are just painting exaggerations or like their interpretations of things that they've seen or experienced within their lives. And those pictures, that music, those videos, that movie or whatnot, other people see that and that inspires them to do other things, that inspires other people to make other art. You feel me?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So I think that we just imitate each other. I don't think there's a beginning to it. I think that you can feel, you can bop, you can step, you can sing, you can sway, you can swag, you can drop, you have all these visceral emotions that are just a part of your being, and nobody needed to teach you that. And when we start putting those together, like in hip hop is an amalgamation of things. That's why it's amazing, because it reintegrates things, it refreshes things, it remixes things. It takes music that you haven't heard in decades and years and brings it to the forefront.
And speaking of decades and years, man, would you look at the time?
Oh yes, it's about to be 2020.
It's about to be a new year, my friend.
Just get a little bit more of this.
Go ahead, indulge, my friend. Drink. This right here, you know what that is? That's gin right there. You know what gin is? That is the elixir of the gods. That is the sweat off of Zeus's brow.
You hear that? You hear everybody playing? Sorry.
Hell yeah. It's the new year. And in this new year, you know what we drinking on, man? We are drinking on the water that has been purified by the sparks from Thor's anvil. When he strikes Mjolnir on his anvil, and those sparks, they go into the water, man. That's what this gin is. You see that? Lightning in a fucking bottle right here. So what?
We are not sponsored or paid by gin. And all the fireworks and shit going out in the background. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's, man.
Was it L'Haim? 100 more? Something like that?
Whatever it is, man. Whatever saying that you got, whatever language that you speak, we're just happy to be here for another year. And we're just hoping that this time is a better year than the last year. Because you know what? Every year is better than the last year, right? Because we as human beings, as we move into the future, right, we're continuously making advances in technology and advances in knowledge and understanding that progress human lives and the ease of existing, right? Like right now we're living in probably the best time that human beings have ever lived. A lot of people are complaining, but think about it. People are working from home. People don't have to leave their house. The government has several times issued money for people to stay home. Sure, it's only been a little bit, but it's happened. They issued you cash that you can stay in your fucking house with your fucking family. And a lot of people, they have jobs in which they can stay home with their people. They don't have to leave. They can just stay, but there are a lot of people who are complaining about like, man, I want to do these other things or whatnot. Things that are necessarily unnecessary. I think you can get groceries delivered to your house.
Yes.
You can get alcohol delivered to your house. Matter of fact, appreciate that, man. You can get alcohol straight delivered to your house. You can get food delivered to your house. Whatever you want. If you want, goddamn, you say my couch, man. The leg of my couch is broken. You need a new couch. You can get that straight delivered to your house. You get a new TV. You get pots and pans,
So
groceries.
the question is, why in all this opulence and newfound ease, why are people finding themselves depressed? And why are people finding themselves maybe not depressed, but in the position to complain and vocalize those complaints? Why are we mad at society? This is the first time in forever that, you know, in mass, everyone in America was given money. That's the first time that's ever happened. Not saying
Probably one of the first times since I can recall, since the Roman Empire, when, like, you know, Augustus Caesar, he opulated when he became emperor. He gave a stipend to all of the lower impoverished citizens, so that way they can rise above. And there were certain things to that I won't touch on right now, but that was the thing. But I believe the reason why Black people are complaining is mainly due to ignorance. It's mainly due to an idolization of the past. They see the past as something. There were two groups of thoughtful like people. They see some people see the past as something idyllic, as a better time, an easier time, a simpler time. They think about it as the way they would like to see it instead of how it really was. And then there are other people who would see the past as like, oh man, the past sucked, man. The past was ass. You know, they see it as a negative thing, you know what I'm saying? Or they see it as everything that came before me is obsolete, is irrelevant, and everything that is now is, how should I say, unnecessary. Everything that is coming on now is unnecessary, is unneeded. You don't need this too much. But everything that occurred when I was growing up, when I was formulating my ideas and my thoughts, that's where life was. That's where life was. That's what it was needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Just like when you spoke and you were crescendoing, the fact, listen guys, there's no audio effects here. There's actual live fucking fireworks going on. And the fact that they crescendoed with this man's speech is just really serendipitous, or there's a word for it. I forgot. But when I get the word, I'll give it to you. You'll love the word.
And I said it praised us in the background.
Yeah.
Rounds of applause.
I think that's just in the right place, huh?
Yeah.
In the right place.
But I truly do believe that, like, a lot of people, they're not really seeing things for what they truly are. They're seeing them for what they want them to believe. They want to believe that now is a dystopian time.
I think that the advent of social media has done a lot to so when you have social media, the effects it has on your perception, you have this device where you can look at the whole of humanity. This is what we have to deal with. This is a cross that our generation has to bear, is what do we do when we have the world's intelligence in the palm of our hands? And that's exactly what we have with our phones and with our technology. There's a thing called global flattening, where everything is just going to hit equilibrium. That doesn't mean everyone's going to make the same amount. It doesn't mean that poverty is going to be all of a sudden eliminated, or homelessness is going to be eliminated. Understand that there are sects of society that will always exist. There's people who will not want to contend with reality and not want to contend with fate, and they will try to be on the backdrop of reality. And I say that as a person who previously worked at a homeless shelter with addicts, with people with high mental health issues. I'm talking about pyroschizophrenia. I'm talking about high mental health. And even though our society is great and it's extravagant, there's people who simply, if I said, hey, to stay in our facility, you need to take a shower once a day, because of that simple rule, they can't. It's like obedience defiance disorder, and they will not agree with societal norms of reality, like washing your hands, like, you know, wearing a mask. It's not a political thing. We're in a homeless shelter. You need to wear a mask because you are the most exposed, and you come in contact with so many people, and the hygiene that the people you come in contact with
is low.
Yes, because it's a homeless population that I'm And
they're the people most susceptible to catching the contagion and passing it on.
We had a thing in one of our facilities, and then actually the facility I worked, one person caught it, and then 7 other people caught it. So we were on red alert. We were on lockdown, and these people are thinking that we're the man and we're the government trying to control them, because they also have mental health issues on top of that and schizophrenia on top of that. So me saying wear a mask, they're like, why, you want to suffocate me? I'm like, no, I don't want to suffocate you.
No, I want you to survive, motherfucker.
I want you to live.
I want you to live.
And people, we had free meals, 3 free meals a day. We had a full bedroom to yourself, free Wi-Fi, free electricity, free laundry, free medication management. Everything was catered to. You had case management and success coach and like life coaching, you know, readily available. And even with all that, people still fell out of the system.
Indeed.
Even with all that opulence, on top of everything else. I'm talking about 100% free ride for 4 to 6 months on life. Just it's a free ticket, you know.
You know, some people they just can't have it. Some people they just aren't there.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but like Mike Tyson said, survival of the fittest. Some people, some animals, some creatures, even fucking plants and whatnot, they just aren't on the level of other people, so they fall behind. We are all created equal because we were all born, we were all dumbass babies who didn't know anything. Useless ass, dumbass, soft ass babies that became dumbass, useless ass, soft ass kids that eventually over time learn things, learn mathematics, learn how to read, learn arithmetic, learn how to reason and whatnot to different levels, and then we're exposed to like different things in life, different environments, different parental techniques and whatnot. Different parents have different techniques, have different ways of raising kids. Some people didn't have parents. You know, some people were exposed to acts of violence, extreme versions of reality that they believe is just reality. Like a lot of people in the hood, they grow up and they see people get shot, they see people get stabbed, they see people get murdered, they see people selling drugs, people addicted to drugs and things like that. And then they grow up with this sense that that's reality.
Yes.
No, that is what happened in the hood. That is not the world, you know what I'm saying? That was just that particular area. And a lot of those people who grew up in those areas, when they leave the hood, they have issues adjusting to things because it's like, no one's trying to kill me. This is weird, and they're really aggressive and things like that. So it's like they're always in survival mode, but it's like life isn't like that. That's not what the world is like.
The world is not like that, and we have done a poor job resolving that issue because how do you properly and how do you philosophically, spiritually, and properly reconstruct the mind? You know, that's what we're looking at when we're trying to reintegrate society. And what we have the elements that are slavery, Jim Crow, Jane Crow. We have those ghosts in our society now. And when it comes to the microcosm of societies that are the Afro-Latino diasporas in America, when we have the ghost of, you know, hardship and heartache and heartbreak in this world that we currently live in today, modern America does not have a place for us in this society. When it comes to reintegrating and reclaiming those people, it's obviously a very toxic environment for them because you're from struggle, you're from strife, and then you're expected to go to school and go to school like a 9-to-5 job every day, you know. And then when it comes to reconciliation, you're told that nothing has ever happened to you or your people. But people need to understand that your reality is not the same as someone else's, and to make everyone's reality greater, that's why we need to take time and care when it comes to reintegrating our children, whether they're black, brown, white, Korean, because I don't think the hood's susceptible to race. you know, I've seen many other people in the hood that were just African and Latino, you know, and I think that white kids in the hood still have to grow up with that anxiety of people trying to attack them, and I believe that Asian kids in the hood still grow up with that anxiety.
Everywhere. When I was in Korea, it was the same thing.
Tell me about the hoods of Korea, and like, was it similar to the hoods in America?
It was different. It was very different. The slums out there, they weren't like here because they were safer or whatnot. Because you didn't necessarily have to worry about being assailed or whatnot. It was just the fact that people were poor and they did what they had to do in order to survive and whatnot like that. It's like, I gotta do what I gotta do to make this fucking wand, man. If I gotta go out here and I gotta fucking jack some fucking fruit off a fucking tree and shit, sell it on the street. Wand is like their currency. Okay. Their currency. One wand is like, I should say, 1/10 of a penny, if I understand, because 1,000 won for them is $1 would be the equivalent of what $1 would be to us, even though it's 80 cents to our dollar. And how they range, like price ranges and things like that, is on a similar scale to ours as well. So like you come here and you buy like a gallon of milk for $3, right? Over there a gallon of milk will be 3,000 won and whatnot. So a lot of people, when they go over there, they realize that that dollar can go a lot further. You know what I'm saying? Because instead of paying like $3 for a gallon of milk, in reality, what you're really only paying is like 2 something. You feel me? But for them, it's just like a lot of people who are underprivileged and whatnot. They gotta get it by whatever means that they can, and they gotta work hard to do it, even if sometimes that means, yeah, I gotta suck dick in this back of this club. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, I gotta go out here and I gotta act a fool for these fucking dumbass foreigners and shit. But it is what it is. It's the same thing here, man. The elements that are here in America are the elements that afflict every people all across the world, but at different levels into like different ways. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like when I was in the army, right? They said, don't worry about this unit. I know this unit sucks, but when you go to another unit, things will be better. No, they will never be better. Every unit sucks, they just suck in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And when you go to every country, no country is really that much better than any other country. There are examples of countries that, but those are extreme examples. Those are like, but no society is fundamentally at its core better than another one. It just sucks in a different way, to different extents. You know, I mean, everybody has their own ailments.
I think one of our ailments is that we are a progressive society, and we're a society on the forefront of existence. If you're in the society in the forefront of existence, you're in the forefront of existence for humanity, and we don't understand what that means. In all of humanity, we're in front. So when it comes to problems of reality and spirituality, have you heard like a good example is the what is the term, the person of the being that comes out of us next? There's a term, there's a person that comes out. It's similar to the one narrative of the Matrix. A person who's beyond it, and our children are going to be these people, and every generation bequeaths the next generation, and that next generation has a little bit more fire from the sun, has a little bit more light from the stars,
coming a little bit more understanding.
Every generation. At least
that's the idea. That's what should be.
Yes, but we kind of corrode that, and we contradict that, and we break our youth down before they can grow and have their own thoughts. Because when a child sees the world, basically when you have a child, you see the world through that child's eyes, and you have new eyes through your child. It gives you this second existence, because as an adult, your mind has become crystal, right? And when you're a child, your mind is still placid. There's still a lot of lucidity to it.
Lucid stupid.
But that is the mind that's growing in the universe of today, dealing with all positive and negative strife of today, and it's standing, that child's standing on the shoulders of not just you, but billions who have come before you. So all of our children should have the highest amount of care given to them, and when that doesn't happen, we have a redundant system. We have a society that just repeats what the generation before repeats.
Because they say if you don't learn history, then you're doomed to repeat it, right? Because humans, no matter how you try to look at it, we're just animals, right? We have instincts that we naturally impulse upon. And we have things that are passed down from generation to generation, not by wisdom or whatnot, but by our genetic code and our genes and things like that. We know, kids know, certain things hey man, I'm not gonna fuck with this because that looks scary. I know that looks scary because several generations ago, one of my ancestors, he fucked with something that looked like that, and it killed his ass.
And it happened, yeah, definitely. You're 100% correct, man. 100% correct. When we talk about how apes evolved, I'm not saying that humans are apes, but our most close creature to us, they evolved to be afraid of snakes. That's a generational thing. Just like we, so it's sad, but if you have a family that's fought a lot, and as Americans, we come from a fighting species, similar to the Spartans, similar to any, the Greeks, the Romans, similar to any fighting nation. We have that not just in our culture, but in our DNA. If you look at things that happened in World War II and the studies they did with mothers who were in camps and how their children were plump because their children inside the womb felt that the society outside of the womb was
hostile,
was
violent.
So they came out plumper and with more nutrients. They came out with more padding, and they were easier. When their nutrition turned to fat more, easier, because that's the world they were prepared for, and that happened for a generation after that. And but so when we compare that to our society now, we have sects of our society, not huge sections. I think that the sad part of growing up in a place that is a hood or a ghetto or a low socioeconomic standing environment, the harsh reality is once you step out of that reality, the world doesn't understand or care. It's like you speak two different languages, you see a different code, you see bullshit before it's going to happen because you're just programmed to look at every situation as this might be the last, so I need to get it correct. I need to choose people correctly.
Yeah. How I see it is, how you advance in life, you jump from one thought pattern into a higher level of thought pattern. You jump from the hood to the regular world, or to the suburbs, or you jump from the suburbs to the hood. There's different ways of living right there, you know what I'm saying? Different thought patterns. Because in those two different, how should I say, those two different social groups right there, they're just a part of the larger picture that is the society of your city, of your state, of your country, of the world, of the galaxy, of the universe in and of itself. But when you say the larger world doesn't care, because it can't care.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to each person, we're all individual people, and as much as I love you, right? As much as I care for you, as much as I want you to succeed, I can't give you what you need for you to live your life to the fullest extent that it can be. Only you can do that, because I need what I need for me. What you somebody who's codependent and whatnot. who's in a relationship, like, I need this person to, like, love me so I can feel better about myself. That will never happen. That will never exist, because, like, that person can't give you what you need, because what you desire from them, they need that from themselves, for themselves, because this is their life. You have to take active steps in order to progress yourself in this world. If you just allow the universe to, like, object to, like, to focus down on you, just beat on you, you'll be destroyed, you'll be ran over right now, because it doesn't care, because it's harsh, because it's real, you know what I'm saying? There's no real logical reason behind why the things are happening. As far as we, as in this current point in time and science understand, you just have to go out there, you have to fight, you have to contend. Don't let shit happen to you. Fight back, contend, struggle, kick ass, man. Do what you have to do to get what you want to do. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not fucking up somebody else's dream in the process of your dream, you have to do it. You have to do what you gotta do. Just don't let things happen to you. Fight back, nigga. Do it. Do it. Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I'm at a place in my life where I'm seeing, I'm seeing the world. I think at where I'm at as an adult and as a man, I've seen enough, and I'm understanding the ramifications of life. And it's the first time, like, my mind is aligning with life. And here's a good example. If I get a promotion at a job that offers more pay, I may not take the job that offers more pay, because I understand the constraints that come with that more pay. I understand that this environment may have a different supervisor who may be irate, who may want me to diminish myself as a person, and in this position I will have to work diminishing myself as a person for the next 6 months to a year, till he gets fired, he gets promoted, or I leave. So at this point in life, I'm looking at every avenue. I'm not looking at every provision as the way out for me. I'm picking my shots, and when I do something or meet a person, it's when I pick my shots today, whether it's making film, or whether it's doing a speech, or whether it's, should my name be in this book? This year I was asked, should my name be in a book? That happened before. I turned down a deal with 5 Hour Energy. They're giving me like $20,000. Yeah. But they wanted my story. They wanted me. They didn't just want me to be their brand. They wanted me forever. And I said no to that. You know, as far as this book thing, it wasn't money involved or money attached to the book. The book probably would have helped generate some revenue for the people producing the book, which is fine, and I understand that. It's a complex situation that I'm just not smart enough to articulate, but I understand the reason why. That, you know, I said, hey, don't put my name in this, because I'm protecting people, I'm protecting their realities. Because say you did something when you were 6, 10, 16, 20, you did something that you can't forgive yourself for. And now that is out for the whole world to know. That reality is going to attack you for the rest of your life. And the 16-year-old who did the stupidity may have done better with it. But when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, and 100, and out of respect for people I care about and people I love, I'm not going to put my name in this document so that people can shoot arrows at them. Because my assumption is that when society goes forward, the past is going to be more important now more than ever. I think every year that goes by, people in politics have been getting away with horrible history, and doing horrible things. As society grows, as social media gets more intertwined, we're at the precipice of social media. You think it's bad that people are watching everything you do? In 5 to 10 years from now, it's going to be insane. What you eat will be like subject to scrutiny. Oh, you put sodium in your eggs? Sodium? You know, sodium causes your arteries to become, you know, carotid arteries. Calcified arteries, and like, okay, so you obviously don't care about America because you put salt in your eggs, or where you use paint? Was that paint hydrophobic? Hydrophobic paint? Oh, I'm gonna cancel your ass because you use hydrophobic paint. So do you understand what
I understand exactly where you're getting at, man.
Yeah.
But before I get to that point, hold on. I want to go back to like before you were saying before.
Yeah.
When you're talking about you had an opportunity to go forth for the job. However, they wanted your personal life. They wanted your story and whatnot.
That was 5 Hour Energy.
Yeah, indeed. But I just, because this is something that I was dealing with beforehand, back when I was younger, it's just when I was dealing with people taking it back to the army and whatnot. It's just like when you do a job, how much of the job is just a job, and how much of the job does it take? It's personal, you know what I'm saying? Like where is the line drawn to? It's like there's nothing personal. It's just business, and to where it's like this is like actually part of who I am and such things like that. When I was like in the service and when I did the things that I did, and every time I went up, you know, I went to PT, went to work, went to formation, you know, did extra duty and whatnot. I never really gave that much of a care to it because it didn't reflect, I felt it didn't reflect anything on me. It was just a job that I was doing. I, at no point in time, took anything personal. I just could not fathom in my mind that I cared for anything that really was doing. I was just doing it because I signed the contract and this is what it was, you know what I'm saying, like that. Like however, there were a lot of other troops and whatnot that when something happened, they got yelled at. Things didn't go the way that we intended them to plan. Missions went on far longer than we expected them to go, and they got upset. They took it personally when people started yelling at them when they got recommended or whatnot. When people recommended me, I didn't really care. I just took what they said and smiled and went on with it and then people asked me like, how can you do this? It's put up one time when I was on CQ, and this NCO came up, it was like 2 in the morning. And there was a tall gentleman I was on CQ with, but he was like a private or whatnot. He was very fairly new to the army or whatnot. And I was a specialist at this time on my way out. And this NCO, he just came through, I think it was, if I remember correctly, he was like an E6 or whatnot. And he came through, just bust through the door, and he was on fire, head steaming and shit like that. Apparently he was doing like check through all the barracks, and all the other barracks were fucked up. And when he came through to ours, he immediately found everything that he could possibly find that was fucked up. And he was just yelling at us for like a good little while and shit like that. And the guy next to me, he was freaking out and stuff because he wasn't used to this type of stuff happening to him. But for me, I was like, yes, sir, we'll get to it. You want the hall swept? You want the fucking stairwells mopped? We'll get to it. And then, so eventually, you know, he walked away and whatnot. And then the dude I was with, he looked at me and was like, bro, this dude just yelled at us. He just screamed at us and you're just so calm about it. And I was like, because it's not personal, man. It's like nothing about what he said was a reflection of us. He wasn't yelling at us. He was just yelling at soldiers. He was just in it. That wasn't that man who was at his house with his kids, with his wife and stuff, yelling at us. That was an NCO yelling at troops or whatnot. There was nothing personal about it. There was no way that this was like, he wasn't like trying to offend us. He was just saying, this is a job and we gotta do the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just doing his job. He probably wasn't even really that angry. It was just his job to be angry or to appear angry and tell us what to do. You know what I'm saying? So I told that to the guy, and he was like, wow, I don't know, man. So I told him, like, how about this, bro? I'll take over for a while. You go back to your room and you think about it, right? And when you, like, come to sense about it, come back, I'll be right here. You know what I'm saying?
Shit. Yeah. Was he really that, like, just, he was just irate about it or sad about it? Or what were his emotions were so bad that he needed to walk away? Or are you just being a good leader? You're like, yeah, take a break, man.
I did it because he was new. Because I understand because at the point I had met many troops that were like this. So I was like, man, fuck this guy, man. He yelled at me and shit, man. Fuck him. When I see him at Walmart, I'm gonna whoop his ass and like shit like that. But I just wanted to like nip it in the bud, right? Because it's like it's nothing personal, kid.
Yeah.
It's just business.
In high school, we get made fun of a lot in ROTC because, you know, and all the kids like, oh, nobody's gonna yell at me. Nobody's gonna get in my face and yell at me and treat me like I'm a bitch. And I was like, you have no idea what we're trying to do. It's like, it's so hard to explain to kids who aren't in ROTC in high school. I was like, nah, bro, I'm trying to be the best motherfucker I possibly can be. You see, like, bro, you can look at my shoes and see the reflection of my face and your face in them. This shit is dope as fuck. Who's doing this shit? Who is doing this? But you're judging me because you heard somebody get yelled at probably once because they fucked up. Mm-hmm. And you gotta understand that.
And sometimes
military is easy. Life is hard. Military is easy. Life is hard.
It's simple. I wouldn't say it's easy.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Easy is probably the wrong word. Wrong word, America. Wrong word. Simple, not easy. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Good catch. Yeah.
But when I get down to it, it's just like when they say like, oh, this person won't yell in my face, or this person won't tell me what to do because I'm gonna get in his face. No, you're not. First of all, because like you've never experienced something like that before. You've never like somebody actually like treating you like shit like this. Most people have never done it. That's why it's being done to you, because you need that experience or whatnot. You need to feel what it's like, and it's not because they don't like you or they hate you or anything. It's because they need to put you under that pressure. That way, if you're ever under that form of pressure, you know how to react. You know, it's like, God damn, man, this motherfucker, I'm at like back in basic. I probably told you the story before, but when I was shooting at the range and I had my drill sergeant, he was standing directly over me, shouting at me as I'm like firing or whatnot. He's calling me all sorts of names. He's saying like, motherfucker, you can't shoot for shit. You don't know what the fuck you're doing or whatnot. And look, I have a loaded weapon. These are real rounds going down range. These are real rounds hitting these targets or whatnot. Like, if somebody get hit with this, they're gonna die. And he's just shouting at me and shit like this. But that's just the training and whatnot. Because when you're really in the shit, that's what it's really gonna be. It's just like, you have to like, bullets are flying by you. You gotta say like, all right, I gotta desensitize myself to this. Well, not really desensitize, but I gotta really focus and like, all right, I've already known this chaos, but I'm gonna go through this chaos because this chaos, it's not about me, man. It's not a focus of me. I'm here to do what I gotta do, and I'm gonna do it.
Do what I need to do. I can get out the chaos faster. It's gonna come, but if you do what you need to do, you can get out faster.
You just do it. Don't break under pressure because they want to put you under that pressure. That way, when you ever come to it, you know what it's about, man. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
I kind of rambled on for us.
No, you didn't. I have a similar story. It's hilarious. I was doing the ARC training, the advanced marksmanship bullshit, where you're running around shooting shit, and you have like John Wick type shit, and the motherfucker had his hand behind me on my shoulder the whole time, like that, and he was screaming at me. And I had a loaded weapon with live fucking rounds that I'm firing at live targets, and I'm not stationary. I'm moving, so I have to maneuver. I'm like, he's like. I remember him specifically saying, Velasquez, your face is fucked up. You're gonna fuck this up like your face is? And I'm like, and at that moment,
how's it going?
And at that moment in time, I realized I had a loaded fucking weapon. The whole time I was focused, right? The whole time I was focused. When he was like, you're gonna fuck this up like your face is? I was like, nigga, do you not have a gun in my hands? Like, shut the fuck up, like, you know, like. not that I would do something, but you got to be put in these positions
to understand what it's like.
you're
Because when you're fighting and you're trying to kill somebody,
yeah.
they ain't gonna be talking nice to you.
Oh no,
They ain't gonna be saying that's like, you son of a bitch, I'm about to kill you or whatnot. That's
They
that.
be like, your mama have no nipples.
Yo, check it out, check it out.
That's what they're gonna say. At the
I hate
battlefield.
to bring up the basics training stories,
Yeah,
but
okay, yeah.
this is one that you'll like this one right here. We were doing that FTX, right? And part of our FTX, we had to raid this village.
Yeah.
And this village was like a town. It was like an imitation town. Brick buildings and whatnot. Not really big, but cement buildings and whatnot. And our mission was we were going down with this other platoon, and we had to come from two angles, and we had to suppress this town and kill all the like insurgents that were within it, right? This other platoon, they were like providing the support fire, right? So we in our platoon, we can come in and like clear out all the buildings or whatnot. Me, I'm the third man in the second stack going into this shit right here. So this is why communication is really important when you're trying to do a job that has multiple levels, right? Because all the PGs, the platoon leaders or whatnot, that they came together and they decided the plan, you know, how they were gonna go about this offensive or whatnot. However, they did not relay this back to us. They said, just follow us and everything's gonna work out. We know the plan or whatnot. And we were all just like, yeah, sure, well, let's do it. Let's go. Let's just get this over with, whatnot. Shit went south real quick because all the people that knew what was about to go on, they were in the front of the stacks and whatnot. Because the stack is like, it's 4 people, it's a four-man group, and we had several of them. Ours was 3, if I remember correctly, and we were in the second stack. Apparently, like when we the mission was, we were gonna come around to this village. The third stack was gonna stay in the building as stay in the largest building, and they would come up and they were gonna supply actual suppressive fire while they were inside the village, while the other platoon was supplying suppressive fire outside of the village. And then we had the 2 stacks that would go through, and we would just go through each building, right? We would snake through each building. We would come through, clear this building, snake through, clear the other building or whatnot. And do what it's gonna be is like the first stack would clear out a room, clear out one room in the building, and the second stack would double into the next room, and then would double back into the next building and do the same thing. All right. So we get to the first building after the largest building, and we're actually into the village right now. All right. So we get into the first house. Apparently there was some sort of miscommunication or whatnot, or whatever was going on, because the first stack went in and they got killed. They died. Everyone. This is imitation rounds or whatnot, you know, blanks or whatnot. They died. Everybody in that house died. So it's up to us. It's just one stack now. So like, all right. So IPG's like, we had to go in, clear it out, go into the next house, clear it out. We get to the last building, right, and then we go through, and then we come into the window, right, and the person in front of me, he gets shot. He's down. He's going, and it's like, so now it's up to me. I was like, I'm the last person in. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Nobody told me. They just said, hey, yo, follow me. Where the fuck? Who am I gonna follow now? I have no idea what the mission is, or like, well, I know what the mission is, but I don't know what we're supposed to do after I clear this building. All I know is supposed to go in here and clear. So like, he gets shot. He's on the ground. I'm like, okay, I guess we just go in now. So we're at the door. I get my rifle. All right, so I'm like, on the count of 3. Say 1, 2, 3. Grab the person behind me. They grab the person behind me. It's like, then we break. I turn, come into the building, pivot. The person that's in the hallway, pivot. I have my weapon down to low ready. Put it down to the high ready. Come down. Person that's in the hallway, fire at him, hit him. Hits the wall, drops down, dead. I was like, oh shit. I remember I panicked at that. I was like, oh
Okay.
Because
yeah.
because
First time.
even though it was an imitation rounds or whatnot, the fact of the way that he was a good actor, that was my homeboy right there. It's like the way that he hit the wall, the way that he fell and shit after I pulled the trigger, and she was like, I killed that dude. He's dead. And I kind of paused for a second. I was like, holy shit. And then that's not even the good part. And then I had to go. We had to go into this room. And I killed like 5 people in this building, right? I killed like so many people. And then like we finally get out of the building. We finally clear out the entire building right now. The drill sergeant over there yelling at us the entire time. You know, they're shouting at us like, fire, kill him, and all this shit right there. So we come out, and then we're like, everybody behind me is like, looking like, so what do we do now? I'm like, I don't fucking know. And then drill sergeant's like, you just gonna leave your buddy dead down on the ground? Yeah. And then I was like, all right, cool. So I guess we gotta drag him, pick him up, high carry, low carry. So I pick him up, right? And I was like, yeah, man, this motherfucker's big as fuck, right? Yeah. So I drop him down on the ground. And like, you just drop your buddy like that. So I pick him up by his TV, and we're dragging him, right? At that moment, right? Apparently, the people that was pressing suppressive fire on the outside, they got wiped out. They got wiped out. And now, the insurgents are now coming in the village. And then they're killing everybody. So we gotta make a hasty escape. And shit like that. And so forth. At this point, everything just falls to shit. Yeah. We were just bursting out of this building. And like the people that were behind me, the three guys behind me, they just bust out. I'm like, what the fuck, man? They just left me with a dead body. And so I'm just dragging the dude. And I'm just dragging. This dude is like 200 something pounds without his IOTV and gear on. And like, I'm just dragging him. At this time, I'm only like 150? 150 at the time. So I'm just dragging this dude as far as I can with my weapon in my hand, because I have his weapon too with me. I had his weapon, I carry both of our weapons, and I'm just dragging full battle rattle and shit like that. These guys that are supposed to be helping me out, they're already gone. They're already in the wood line and shit like that. And they're waiting on me to come through, right? So we come through, but before we can get to the exit point of where the village is, that's this big ass stump and shit like that, where like this tree that's knocked down, and I gotta pick the dude up, throw him over the tree and shit like that, and then roll over the tree as well as like that. And when I come over, I'm fucking dead, man. I'm dead. I'm tired as fuck. I've never been this tired in my fucking life. And then as soon as I get back, drill sergeant Stacy, he's just over me. Tall, white, skinny dude. Scariest motherfucker I ever seen in my entire life. He's just over me, shouting at me, he's yelling at me, like, you fucked this up. You had a plan and you had to stick to it. And I'm like, I didn't know. And then we had the AAR where, you know, you do the review and shit like that. And everybody is roasting me for fucking this up. And I was like, I did not know. Nobody explained what was going on. It was just like...
Pause. No one explained to you what's going on. So before your mission, even though I got it, your first squad kind of got decimated there, you didn't say like backstops, no backstops were planned? Because anytime I roll to a mission, an SOP is like, if we have 20 people and 10 of them die, you need to abort. You know, something like that. There was nothing like that.
No, they didn't explain anything to us. They said we were
just ran through the shit.
The people in charge, they did not have the idea that something like this would happen, that we would be overrun. They just thought that we would come through and then we just wipe everything out and everything would go according to plan. They did not prepare or plan for if something went wrong.
Med TC.
Yeah. But that was all part of the experience, you know what I'm saying? You know, it wasn't when they were roasting me, when they were talking shit about me, when they was like, put me up in front of the entire formation in front of the fire unit and said, this man is an example of what not to fucking do. It was nothing personal, right? It was nothing personal. It was just an example. This is just a troop that was uninformed. They did the wrong thing. And it's like, in future engagements down the line, you have to relay the information to every single person. And that's not just with the Army, that's with the companies or whatnot. If you're running like, if you're doing retail or whatnot, and you guys have a big sale, say like Black Friday or whatnot, You have to relay what's going down, because people are gonna rush in. You're gonna say like, when people come in, you gotta have so many people do so such and such and such. This is your role and this is whatnot. If this person goes down or anything like that, you are gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Corporation, if they do it like that, but that was just an example. It's something like, it's not personal.
No,
it's just
definitely.
business.
Yeah, definitely not personal, just business. Gotcha. And I think our generations, the generations including our generation under us, are not going to be able to reconcile that it's not personal, because we are trained to take everything personal. Our being in the past, you could have two separate lives. You can have who you are at work and who you are to your wife. Society was structured like that, but now you're kind of walking around as this one fully formed being that doesn't change, that doesn't have a mask on. So you have to wear just one mask in our reality, and it's like,
Yeah, they pretty on it.
I mean, yeah, man. Well, first of all, you have a nice pool.
I'm seeing these little kids in the background. It's like they up late, but it is New Year's.
It is New Year's. But freaking, you have one mask that you have to wear in our reality, because you're gonna have Instagram at work and Instagram at home and Instagram at the beach and Instagram everywhere you go. So that reality is gonna keep on reflecting back at you. So you have to be the same person. So at this point in time, your persona non grata is going to be cast on you everywhere you go, and you're going to assimilate to that. And then as your neural pathways become more crystalline and less fluid, you're going to be that stagnant person. And that's kind of growth. You know, I wrote this thing about a plural potentiality, where when you're one, you can be like an infinite amount of things when you grow up. When you're 20, you can be about 100 things when you grow up. When you're 30, you can be about 3 things when you grow up. When you're 35, 40, you can be about 1 thing, right? So you have this from the baseline here, to 100 up here, right? Or to infinity up here as a child. But as you grow through life, just imagine this as like a scale or a line chart. Basically, at this intersection here, when you're between 35 and 40, your pluripotentiality diminishes. The things that you allow yourself to become in your mind diminishes. And I personally think that's what people go through when it's a midlife crisis. Because after that hit point right there, that XY graph hits, once that XY graph hits, you're able to expand again. But only after you've hit the critical point of X and Y attaching. This is where, you know, what you want to be meets who you are. You know, this is where reality meets what you were projecting reality to be. And I believe that happens in everyone's life. But in our, specifically today with social media, everybody wants to be Peter Pan forever. Everybody wants to be able to be everything forever. And they don't understand that when you have a form, when you choose a form, when you choose a persona, when you choose who you are, that alleviates everything. It alleviates finance. It alleviates project management within your own life. It alleviates all these problems that most people have when they get to that stage, because if you're going to work at Krispy Kreme's and you're trying to be a lawyer at night, and you're DJing on Saturday, and then you're going with the girls, you know, trying to do X, Y, Z, but then the next day you're going to church, you have all these personas literally tearing you apart. Now, when you're a child and you can be an infinite amount of things, that's fine. Your parents are paying your bill. The school is taking care of your structure of reality. Your friends, you're outsourcing what reality is to your friends. But as you grow into an adult and you have to choose a form, you don't have those systems that you can outsource your reality to. And when you have to worry about things like finance, spirituality, physical form, exercise, XYZ, you can't have infinite personas. But the greatest thing about living life correctly is when you have that X and Y meet, and you can choose your form. You're like, oh, this is what I'm gonna be, right? So you went from infinity to just what you choose you're gonna be. After that happens, then from 30 to death, you can actually expand and play with your expansion, because you didn't choose to have this reality. You didn't choose to be born into an infinitesimal amount of things that you can become. You didn't choose that. But life naturally teaches you how to get away from being infinity, being anything. And that type of person who can become anything, you don't want to be around that person. That person is shaky, that person is shifty, that person is uncertain, that person is terrifying. It's literally walking chaos, because this person is still communicating with the infinitesimal realities that they have lived in since birth. When you have good parenting, well, the parents get your food for you. You know, well, the parents, you know, do X, Y, Z, and you don't need to maintain all those forms of reality. You know, and that just brings to a next topic in a conversation I think we should talk about, is what happens when you don't have solid family members bolstering your reality. What happens when you don't have that, you know?
Well, me as an example, I was a foster child growing up and whatnot. I was not raised by my biological father or mother. I was raised by a collective of family members, ranging from older siblings to aunts, uncles, and whatnot. And each one of them had a very different, how should I say, parenting style or whatnot, and a different level of actual care, concern about me and also my little sister, and for a shorter time, my older brother. And it was each one of those things was quite a culture shock, going from one place to the next place, you know what I'm saying? Because one time we're living in the projects, then the next time we're living in a suburb, and then next time we're living in a middle income like household or whatnot, and then the next time we're living basically in the slums and shit like that. But it was interesting seeing like the different type of lifestyles and how different type of people perceive the world and their outlook on life, you know what I'm saying, like that. Seeing like people in the slums and whatnot, they don't really see anything besides this right here, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's never a progression, a thought of more in this. To them, this is reality. It's like access or more just doesn't exist. They're just trying to survive, and that's more, and that's good enough for them, you know what I'm saying? People in the project, they have the idea that there's more in life. They have a concept that there's more in life, and they would maybe like to get to that. They would like to experience some of that, but they don't really want it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They would rather stay here because it's better to be, they believe it's better to be the king of the slums than it is to just be a regular person in the suburbs or whatnot. And in the suburbs, it's like, hey man, life is good. It's cool. It's nice. We have this house that we got this fucking mortgage at that we're probably not gonna pay for until we're fucking dead and shit. Yeah. But we work hard and whatnot. And we live our lives here. We're gonna spend the rest of our lives in this one spot, and we're never gonna go anywhere else. Yeah. We're never gonna do anything else. Yeah. And then people are like, when I was living in how should I say, it's like middle America. When I was living in like middle America and whatnot, it's like, yeah, there's more in life, man. There's more in life where they're steadily trying to get more. It was just a steady, slow progression. It's like more. All right. We got a shitty car right now, but maybe I can put some money into, save up some money, put some money into the car, put more money into the car, and then get the car running, and get the car nice and such. And then eventually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sell that car for more than what I bought it worth, and get a better car and shit like that. And I'm gonna suit that car up and then sell it and then get a better car or whatnot. It's always, that was more of a forward progression. It was more of a crawl, walk, run phase, you know what I'm saying? So it's more realistic and down into it, right? And then I had a friend when I was in high school. He was we didn't know it at the time when we met him, right? But he was rich. He was super rich. He had never mentioned anything about it because I guess he was ashamed of the fact that he was rich. So one time I went over to his house because he invited me over. He's like, "Hey man, come over and spend the night." And I was like, "Yeah, cool, why not, man? I'll come chill with you or whatnot." But went over to his house. They stayed in the richest part of town. And like the good part of that. Think about it, like you stay in the rich part of town, but in the good part of that rich part of town, you know what I'm saying? They lived in a mansion. It was a 2-story house, and at the second story they just had a game room.
Yeah.
Just toys, because he had a little brother. He had toys just all over the floor. There's everything you could, from Lincoln Logs to like little toy soldiers, Transformers, He-Man, all this shit right here, man. He had a game drawer that you just pull it out. It was like this long, stacked with games, filled with games, overflowing with games. Basically everything that had came out on the Xbox at that time, he owned it. And then he had another drawer, a PS game. The PS games weren't as full as that, but he had all the Xbox games, a vast majority of all the PS2 games and 3 games that had ever came out. And he's like, I asked him like, "Bro, you ever played these games?" He's like, "No, man, I know most of these games even are."
Shit.
Like, he said his parents just keep buying them and they just buy them. Like, I don't even play Xbox.
Freaking, that's crazy. I remember Nintendo 64, Super Smash Bros. Taking it back to the day, playing for hours with my cousins and my stepbrother and my big brother. We just go for hours. That was some real bonding shit because we get so proficient. We get so proficient at this damn game that we would be able to predict each other's moves, me and my older brother. So we would be like the Matrix in this damn video game, shooting solid blows for like fucking 3 minutes straight without being able to hit each other. Because right when he hits, I'm ducking behind him. And right while I'm trying to catch him while he's, we're just playing in these little margins of error for, essentially what seemed like forever. We were so happy to do it. And, the first system that me and my big brother got, we collected bottles. We used to call it bottle hunting in New York. He had 5 cents per bottle, and we collected bottles. And then we had about $26, and some dude, the PS1, the original version. So the second one was the PS1 Slim version, and it was so sexy. And I remember the first game we got was Siphon Filter, and me and my big brother, my mom thought we were selling drugs, right? Because we'd always have money on us. We'd have money on us because we go bottle hunting, and we would steal everybody's recycling because they're just donating it for free, and we're selling it back to the corner stores would collect bottles and exchange them for 5 cents a bottle. So recycling day, we just steal everybody's recycling and cash it in for money, and then we'd have me and my big brother, and I'd be like 4, 5, 6, like young as shit, having like, like 30, 40, 50, $100 at me at a time. And the assumption was that, you're selling drugs or you're doing something wrong. I'm like, Mom, I'm like 6, you know what I'm saying? Or like, Mom, I'm like 9, no, I'm not doing this. There's bottles that we can just put into the corner store. And we did bottle hunting. And then I think a baser is a colloquial term for somebody who's addicted to smack, which is a mix of crack, cocaine, heroin, splice. It's horrible stuff. But this person apparently needed to sell their PS1 or whatever, and we got it. So we paid for it cash, and we paid for it at discount because this person needed it. Now, I wasn't trying to be a mean person or jip a bass head off or anything like that. I wasn't trying to do that. I was just trying to get a PS1 with the money that I earned from taking people's recycling.
Thanks.
First of all, I was, you know what I'm saying? But Yeah. I don't even know how I got on that story, but
Yeah. From the gaming and whatnot.
yeah, but the gaming and what it meant to us, just having that one game.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we bought it ourselves, you know, and that means a lot to me now. More, it means more to me now than it does back then. But back then, I was doing what I needed to do to survive. Like back then, I was on a mission. But back then, I was like 9. I was like 8. I was like 7, 6, doing this shit. Like we were very industrious as kids, and you know, we didn't have a lot, but the things we did have, we really did cherish. And we only had like Donkey Kong, Super Smash Bros,
Donkey
Perfect
Kong.
Dark, like those games, and we tore it up, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Shit.
But that's the difference between like you and my friend and whatnot, because he didn't appreciate these things because he didn't work for them, because they just came and they just seemingly kept coming and it just seemed like it just never ended, right? Where you had to like actually go out in the street and you had to work and you had to hustle and you appreciated what you had.
Yeah.
But like him and his little brother never played with these fucking toys. He just threw them on the fucking floor when he was done with them. You know what I'm saying?
No, this was like when I grew up. It was pretty amazing growing up because we were in New York. New York had this thing called garbage plates, where just piles of food on a plate. It's called a garbage plate because nothing on this plate is good for you, but it tastes immaculate. Or like pizzas in New York. One pizzas in New York are maybe 5 times the size of a regular pizza. They're huge and they're thin. And pizzas in New York, it's $1 a slice, and the slice is like this. It's massive. And once again, I'm 6, 7, 8. $20 in my pocket. I'm going to Checkers in New York. Checkers is a pizza place. It's not a burger joint like down here, but it's $1 for a massive slice of pizza. So I'm balling like I'm a little baller at like 6, 7, and 8. So like, you know, I get it because I deserve it and I earned it. And but we appreciated everything. And the pizza would be so damn greasy. You have to blot it. I didn't do it.
Grease a pizza, man.
I took the grease, you know, because I'm from there. I hated when people got the napkins out because I knew what they were gonna do. They were about to commit a sin. And
they grease a pizza, man. I used to love that shit.
Checkers, thin slice but huge slice of pizza, like and $2 for like the whole pizza, and like $1 for a quarter slice of the pizza. It was insane. Down here, like I try to go to the places in Ybor, and they're like $2.50 a slice. These people are making bank off of this damn pizza.
For sure,
We
man.
need to have a pizza joint. JJJ Pizza with a gin juice and journalism or something.
Gin juice and journalism pizza. we bring people in, we sit them down, we give them some pizza, but then we also like interview them about their life stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's like you don't pay with money, you pay with stories, bitch. Where you from? What do you do for a living?
Why are you looking at me?
Where you come? Where you plan on going in the future and shit?
Let's go. Where do we plan on going in the future? That was a good point.
Yeah. Well, like,
yeah.
taking it back to hustling as a kid, right?
Hustling, yeah.
Because I used to hustle as a kid as well. But I used to hustle with, like, labor and shit.
I'm hearing Mr. Carter play. I'm hearing the Drought 3 play in the background as you're speaking. I used to hustle as a kid. Mr. Carter, where you been? I've been searching, I've been thinking, I've been wondering why.
Yeah.
Hey.
For sure, man. But check it out.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was around
Hustling.
14 years old,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Check it out. I used to go to Brooksabalo Collegiate High School, right? And we had by uniform, but the uniforms were specific for the school or whatnot, and they were each color coordinated for the year. And you had to buy the pants and the shirts and the shoes for each year or whatnot. And when you go for your first year, you get like hand-me-downs or whatnot, or what you can get like people who were freshmen for the first year. They can donate to like freshmen of the next year or whatnot. So I did that like my freshman year or whatnot. But you can't do that for your second year because school had just opened or whatnot.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like an extra class, you know, to send their shit because they gave their shit away or whatnot. So it got to a point where like, we had to buy like new uniforms or whatnot, but we were broke, we were poor, we lived in the slums, we had no money. So I had to get the money myself, right? And I was wondering, like, how the fuck am I gonna get the cash? Then my neighbor, right? They came up to they knocked on the door, right? He was a friend, we used to hang out. We were more acquaintances than friends or whatnot. And one day he just knocked on the door and he asked, yo, can Wayne come out? And then the mom was like, what you need Wayne for? It's like, we got this job down the street. They were raking yards and whatnot. But it's a big yard. You need an extra hand. And Wayne, I was like about a year or so older than these guys. Like, Wayne's bigger and stronger than us. He can he help us out? And she was like, yeah. And she told us, and I went through and I helped them out and whatnot. And then every day after school, we go through on our bikes and whatnot. You know, you ride through on the bikes and you had our rakes on the bike, and you ride through, knocking on doors, asking if people like would like to have the yards raked and shit, because around that fall time. And we made no care amount of money at first, but we were splitting the 3 ways or whatnot. But eventually, one of my homies had a falling out with another one of the homies, so he went out and did his own thing. And then the dude that came and knocked on the door and asked for us, right? Asked for me. He eventually quit because he didn't want to do it no more. He just needed a couple bucks at the time. But I was like, yo, man, I kind of actually need school uniforms and shit like that.
Let's go. Let's go.
So it went for me going around raking yards, bagging them up, putting them down. So one day I guess this one guy's got a house, because around that time it was getting to like summertime. Well, springtime. He was like, do you have a lawnmower? Can you cut my grass? I was like, yeah, I want a lawnmower. I come through, like, give me like fucking 45 minutes, I come back and I cut your grass. So, cut his grass, pay me the money, pay me like 20 bucks. Small grass. I was like, hey, this is cool. Because I was, at first I was raking yards, and I was doing like $15. And it was like being an all-day thing, because you know, raking yards takes a lot of time, because you gotta rake it up, and then you gotta bag the shit, then you gotta lift the bags, put them on the corner or whatnot. But you're young and you're dumb and you don't know any better. You don't know the worth of the price of your time. And these motherfuckers are like, $15 to rake my yard? Hell yeah, man. And shit like that. So eventually it got to a point where now I was raking yards, I was cutting grass, and went from cutting grass to cutting trees to pulling weeds, the like edging shit, like bushes and whatnot. And I was making like good money. I was making around like 60, sometimes 70, $100 a day doing this shit. And I was just hustling. I was just balling for a kid, man. And I felt like a somebody at the time, you know what I'm saying? Because every day, especially during the summertime, I was out and about pushing that lawnmower with the rake. Got a jug of water, like I'll take a jug of water and I'll put it in the freezer, right? And I'll freeze it overnight. And you know, it's Florida, it'd be blazing hot in the summer, right? So I would just walk out and shit. And by the time I get thirsty or whatnot, the jug's already halfway melted or whatnot. And so I have an endless amount of like frozen water with me. So I had the bags with me, had a rake, had a machete, cut down trees, walk around. And eventually it got to the point that when here in Florida, like, the price of living, that's when the price of living started going up. And then people like had less money and shit like that, like expend on things like my grass and shit like that. And we also moved from Sulphur Springs area, which is like part hood, part.
Imagine if you had Craigslist and you offered your services.
Back then, yeah.
Bro, if me and you were friends back then, we would have blew the fuck up in the yard game.
Yeah,
I was hitting a few yards. Shit, where I live now, there's a house down the road. I did their yard. So, listen, guys.
I was on it, man. I'm telling you, I was on it every day. You guys think about it, like every day I was out in the street. I even had these little cards that I made by myself, little business cards. I wrote them out each by myself.
Would you ever own your own yard service company now?
I thought about it, but no, I'm not doing this shit. I moved past that point. Maybe sometime in the future, but at this current point in time, I'm just like, I'm not like going out there, bending my back in front of shit, because I've done that. I've done that since I was 14 till I was 21. And I'm kind of past that point in my life.
Of course, yeah.
But if there ever came an opportunity further down the line where it's like, yeah, I managed one, but I ain't going out there and cutting no damn trees, man.
Yeah, no. Bro, I heard horror stories. I have a good friend. He said truly the most depressing shit I've ever heard in my life. He looked me in the face. He said, Sergio, I haven't ate.
Yeah, what?
Listen,
Mm-hmm.
this is my boy,
Mm-hmm.
and I love my boy.
Yeah.
Love my boy. He looked at me and said, Sergio, I haven't ate meat in months. I said, what does that mean exactly? He hasn't ate meat. My friend lives with his parents still.
Mm-hmm.
He lives with his parents,
Yeah,
and all his bills are paid.
Mm-hmm.
All his bills are paid, and for the foreseeable future, all of his bills will continue to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to eat meat, just go to McDonald's and get a job and work part-time. Steak is under $10. It's under $10. Once a week, get yourself a steak. I have a little bit more money now, so like when I want a steak, I get, shoot, I was gonna get a steak tonight, but Save-A-Lot was closed, and you know.
I was thinking the fridge one.
Yeah, hell yeah, I want a damn steak, man. Because so the plan was to drink wine, a little bit of red wine,
Mm-hmm.
and just make myself steak.
But now
Get some
you,
onions, right? Get some onions, caramelize them nicely. Get some mushrooms, cook them up nicely. Have some wine, and I was just gonna enjoy the New Year's by myself. You know, pray for my friends, pray for my family. That's what I do. I pray that the positive energy of the universe will connect with them, and they'll know how to utilize it. That's it. I pray for my body, my mind, and spirit. I have a very simple prayer: body, mind, spirit, friends, family. That's it. Body, mind, spirit, friends, family. You know, that's a very simple prayer. That's all I do. Because I feel like it takes care of everything.
ah man,
But-
yours is a lot more selfless than mine.
What's yours?
Fuck bitches and get money.
That's not selfless at all. Listen, fucking bitches is providing a service to
Mhm.
the bitches and said that you were fucking. And getting money is a part of the economy. So any node in the economy provides redundancy to the economy. So as long as you are doing something, you are servicing something greater than yourself. The dollars that you moved by the bitches you fucked have... Hey, I'm gonna take a shot. Chill.
Sure. Sure, brother. Sure. All right, whatever you say, brother. Whatever you say.
Hey, that's what I would say. Maybe I might be more of a politician than I expected.
Whatever you say, man.
Listen. There's liars and there's people who are full of shit. Liars don't know that they're liars, and people who are pieces of shit will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you at the door.
Yeah, that. But like fucking bitch, getting money. That's the way I was raised, man.
Okay.
That was what it was about when I
Yeah.
was a kid, right?
Mm.
It was like, at the end of the day, that's what it all came down to: spreading seed,
Yeah.
getting money in
Yeah.
order to provide for those seeds that you spread,
Yeah.
or whatnot, or getting resources in order to
Yeah.
provide for the next generation or whatnot.
Okay.
And a way you could say that's the way that humanity is,
Mm.
and that's just the general gist of what it is: getting resources, building up, getting land, in order to like provide for your children and the next generation and whatnot. Making a lineage of what it is.
The way we were raised is to like take care of each other and be selfless. This one time, family is 6, right?
Mhm.
So 2 parents, 6 children. So, and the parents were always working hard as fucking hell. So we were, we were taught to help take care of each other, and it was very regimented. Big brother, big sister, me, and then my 3 younger siblings, right? They're very fucking regimented. We all knew how to cook. The older ones, we all knew how to cook. We all knew how to clean. I remember since I was a kid cutting up chicken, seasoning the chicken properly. If you season the chicken incorrectly, you will know about it. You will be told. whether you're 6 or 16, you will be told that this is improper, not enough seasoning. You know what I'm saying? I remember cooking pancakes for the whole family. I was like 9, and I'm cooking breakfast for all 8 of us, and it wasn't even a struggle. I love to do it because I love to cook pancakes. Breakfast was my favorite shit to cook, and but we were taught to take care of everyone else before ourselves. And I remember this one time we had a little bit of pancake mix, right? So I made one giant ass pancake for myself, and we had a lot of oatmeal. So I made the kids fucking oatmeal because there's only enough for one pancake. I'm gonna eat that shit, and then I'm gonna give it to the kids. Give the oatmeal to the kids. My brother walked in. He said, "Who's eating oatmeal and who's eating pancakes?" I was like, "I'm eating a pancake, and they're eating a lot of oatmeal." And I made the oatmeal good as shit. You know, put the extra nuts in it, put an extra, you know, a little bit of salt. Put a little bit of, you know, maple syrup, you know, the old school oatmeal where it's not pre-fucking made and you have to actually make it yourself. I was making, and it's like making homemade grits. Not everything's just microwave in a bag. Sometimes you gotta boil some shit and pull out a pot, which people these days don't know how to do, which is a problem. And we need to teach that shit in school or something.
Personally, I hate breakfast. I hate breakfast meals. All breakfast meals. Including like oatmeal, grits, cereal. I hate cereal. I despise cereal. It turns my stomach. Because when you're broke, you sometimes eat cereal, fucking breakfast. And when I came at the house, when I came 18, I said I would never eat cereal a day in my fucking life again. Never. That's broke nigga shit. I don't eat no fucking cereal, man. That's the before time.
You know what's fucked up? I had the opposite experience. We had to eat the fake fucking cereal. You know how they had Captain Crunch? We had like Lieutenant Dan.
I know what you mean.
Captain Crunch. We had Lieutenant Dan. We had Lieutenant Dan, and yeah.
Thank you, brother.
We had Lieutenant Dan, and you know we didn't have enough milk, so we had to mix water in the milk to make the shit last. Or sometimes we didn't even get no milk. We just had water in cereal. You ever had water in cereal?
Yes.
You ever fried bologna?
Yes.
So I experienced anti-racism for the first time in my life, right? Oh, wait, sorry about that.
You get it.
I experienced anti-racism at my girlfriend's house, right?
Anti-racism. Explain that.
Anti-racism is when you date this girl and because you're a light-skinned gentleman and she is a darker woman, their family assumes you come from affluence. So I was at the family gathering, cooking, because I like to cook. And freaking, I was cooking chicken patties, right? And they didn't have any butter. So I said, oh, it's cool. I can use the mayonnaise because mayonnaise is similar to butter. It's like lard.
No, right?
And,
Never heard of that.
So I was cooking with lard, and the grandma came through, and she's like, "Oh my God, how you know this? Where you from?" I said, "I'm from like Sulphur Springs. Like I'm from like
Springs, baby. I'm from the Springs."
So, but you know, I was like, I'm from 17th and River Cove. So, oh, you're from the Springs? I was like, yes, ma'am. And you didn't have any mayonnaise, so I'm cooking with you didn't have any butter, so I'm cooking with the mayonnaise, because that's what you can do. So I was cooking up stuff for the family. And they're like, oh, where you're from, and oh, I thought you was from a better neighborhood. I was like, well, what is that supposed to be? Because of how I talked, how I presented myself, and how I looked. Apparently, being skinny, tall, and light-skinned meant you weren't supposed to be from this area of town. And yeah, so I consider that anti-racism because I was assumed to be affluent because of my color. Not, it wasn't a detriment, regardless of whether I was part black or not.
That's just, that in and of itself is just another form of prejudice themselves. Just ignorance is like, not understand, like, people like you don't come from where people like me are from, you know what I'm saying?
Or the knowledge of like how to make stuff stretch. You know, one of my favorite books was Stone Soup. Have you read Stone Soup?
Negative.
Stone Soup is a book. It's a short story about how a woman took care of the whole village because there was a famine and she got water and she got a stone and she had everybody in the village offer one piece of whatever they had. And they had like a piece of salt, a piece of pepper, a chicken neck, oxtail, and she put all these ingredients into the soup, and she boiled it, and she made the most delicious soup ever out of a mix of bits and pieces. Everybody said they had nothing, and she said she had stone soup, and all she added was a stone. And she was able to feed the whole village a delicious and nutritious meal based off of the pieces that nobody wanted. And
kind of like how we were like fucking eating fish and rice and beans.
And
we made that shit work, brother.
Listen, so the craziest story, because I cut one of those fish, because I used to work for a fish market, and Mr. Dwayne over here said that he said that he froze the fish, so I assumed
No. What happened is I freeze the fish. I always froze the fish, right? But you went to work, right? But you came back early that and the fish hadn't died yet because I just went fishing and I just put it in there like a couple minutes before you arrived. Because I got off of work about like an hour, about 2 hours before you did. So as soon as I got off of work, I went to go fish, pulled the fish out, threw them in the freezer. But you came home early that day, and then you immediately came through the door. You took the fish at the fucking freezer, and it was still alive. And then you fucking collapsed to the ground, crying.
So I'm not gonna say I collapsed to the ground or that I was crying.
You were crying.
What I will say is why it happened. This is what I will say. My first job when I was 17. So I had my own apartment when I was 17. I moved out before I got to college. I was on my own, and had a full-time job at Sweet Bay, and I was a meat cleaver, and I worked on the fish. I worked in the fish department. So I was used to scaling, cutting, and gutting fish. So I'm an expert, but I'm used to scaling, cutting, and gutting dead fish. The only thing we had live in the store were lobsters. And when you killed the lobsters, they actually screamed because you'd hard boil them. And when the air pressure released from the lobster, you would hear a high-pitched screaming, squealing of the air pitch, but it sounded like they were screaming. Gangsta. So it was a fucked up job. You had to get used to it.
Gangsta.
Hey, they stop screaming when you see them.
Feed me with your screams, bitch. Yeah. Give me strength, motherfucker.
But during this time of running to the produce store and volunteering, getting potatoes and cabbage heads and this, that, and the third. See, I was very nice and polite in that world when I was poor. I volunteered for fruits and vegetables. This man, like a savage, hunted animals and captured them. And one of the animals he captured was a fish that I assumed was dead because every fish I cut before was dead. So so I put the fish out. The fish was in a little a brown bag. I took it out. It seemed frozen. It was cold as shit. I got my knife. I put it on the little chopping block, and I was starting to clean it, right? Clean it. Nothing happened. Clean it. Flip it. Scale it. Clean it. And cleaning is when you descale the fish with a knife. All right. So as I go to cut its head off, make a nice little V cut on the side. The moment I stab it on the side of its neck, the shit jumps up, and I kid you not, it fucking looks at me in the face. Oh shit! It looks at me in the face, and at that point in time, I saw my face in it. I just saw my eyes looking into eyes, and we had a moment. And maybe or maybe not, I fell out.
You fell like I was sitting on the couch watching Adventure Time. I remember, and I was saying, I was like, "What the fuck?" I ran to the kitchen to see what you do. You're behind the counter. It's like, it's alive! It's alive! I was like, "What's alive?" The fish. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that is there. I just put those in there." He's like, Dwayne, you're such an asshole, man. Why is it alive?
I was scaling it. It was alive through the scaling process. It knew it was gonna die. And I was the one to kill it. And yeah. So I think we put it back in the freezer for a couple more hours, and
I was very apprehensive about cutting it. But during that time, I was pretty much a vegan. I ate like rice and potato. I don't think I ate I was like, nah, I don't want to eat fish. I'm good, man.
You ate that damn fish, man.
I don't
You
think
ate that damn fish.
Did I eat the fish?
You ate the fish. That's all we had. If you didn't eat the fish, you ain't nothing.
I'm pretty sure I had rice and beans. I'm pretty sure I didn't eat the fish. Yeah. Pretty sure we had rice and beans too.
Yeah, we had the rice. We had the black beans. I remember the black beans, a 5-pound bag of rice that stretched.
Thank God.
That bitch, it was I remember exactly how it was, how much it was. 5-pound bag of rice.
That was a Save-A-Lot next to the store I worked too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I worked across from it. And I remember that it was like what, like $7-8 for that?
No, it's
huge
$5 5-pound bag of rice.
And I think it was like at first we were gonna get the small bag. I was like, nah, we can't get the small bag. Let's get the big one because the big one, $1 as opposed to this $5 bag that I think lasted us for fucking ever. And then like the bread we got the cheapest bread ever. We got like the dollar bread.
Yeah.
And we were making shit stretch. And then I worked at Dollar Tree. So Dollar Tree is no longer Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is dead, people. 2022, right? It's no longer 2021.
It's $1.25.
You're gonna hear it now. The worst thing you may hear is that aliens exist. Fuck that shit. The worst thing you're gonna hear right now on this podcast is that Dollar Tree is $1.25 now. That actually affects you.
Insanity.
Yeah. Huh?
Insanity.
$1.25, and the shit's not even like it. When we were there, just surviving, the fucking. I remember when you get the cookies, the little black and white cream-filled cookies. Like, you can have one today and one tomorrow. You was on some other shit, man.
Yeah, I was like, we had to survive, motherfucker. You can have one cookie today, and you can have one cookie tomorrow. You cannot have 2 cookies today.
Bro, it was good, man. And I think before that relationship, you stayed with me at one of my dorm rooms before, right?
Yeah, man, I stayed in your closet.
It was a huge closet, guys. It was a huge closet.
It was a walk-in closet.
And you know that one Asian woman I dated?
Yeah.
We did it in a closet.
Yeah, I knew her. We went to the beach one time. We chilled out.
Oh, yeah. Did you?
Nah, I didn't.
No. Not that I care or anything.
Nah, that's cool, man.
But
she was a very nice girl.
Yeah, she was, but she's super smart. She's very nice and super smart, and like she was on some like other shit. Not bad, not bad. But she made me feel dumb. And I'm not particularly a person who feels dumb. But it was like everything she said had pertinence to the universe. I feel like sometimes when I speak, people feel like I'm saying some important shit. But like when she spoke, she didn't waste her words. And like, yeah, she didn't waste her words. And she seemed like she was fun and like happy about the it's not a bad thing.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I know she had fun. I know she like.
No, I'm saying like you should, cause I knew the chick too. But keep going.
No, she was this woman was the most kindest woman in the world, but her intelligence was like next level. You know she does like ballroom dance and shit?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I was being too much into it.
I think you just really liked her.
I
think you really like, cause I knew this chick as like, she's a very nice, kind young lady or whatnot. But I didn't know her at the level that you knew her, but I didn't see that.
She was from another country and she got adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And came to America, and she got her whole family, her whole new family, and her family's affluent. And I don't know why the hell she liked me.
We're talking about 2 different women now.
Oh, okay.
I was like, yeah. It's like the one that I'm talking, like one I was thinking about. It's like I'm not sure like on the point, like, you know what I'm saying? Like she was a smart girl, but she wasn't that smart. But yeah, we're talking about 2 different people now. I understand.
Gotcha. Cool. Relationships
are cool, man.
Relationships when you're broke, when you got nothing.
You got that.
Did you have any relationships during that time? That time probably the poorest people in the most affluent part of America. We went to a private university. We were
Private Catholic university.
and we were poor.
You're broke as fuck.
Broke
as fuck. And it's funny because we were working jobs, we just hadn't gotten paid yet. Like I was working.
They delayed your check
Yes.
Like they delayed your check like a month.
What happened?
More than a month, like.
Because you know you have when you work a job, there's the cycle that rolls over because you don't get paid the first cycle, you get paid on the second cycle. But however, the first cycle for us was like usually like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
The first cycle for us was 3 weeks. There was some sort of shit that happened, like you had your first week and then your next 2 weeks, so you get paid for those 3 weeks, and then like on the next cycle, but the next cycle is 2 weeks, so it's 5 weeks that I was working for the job and didn't get paid yet. So that's like a reason why we're like in the struggle for so long. It's just like I got like technically I have the money, I just don't have it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. You were working hard. You were in the field. You were fixing the irrigation, not irrigation, but the
Oh no! Before that, I was painting. I painted damn near half the school by myself. Cause the other motherfuckers that were working with me, they would just be chilling in the hallway listening to music, man. I'm like, we gotta actually get this shit done, or we all gonna get fired. That's the thing. That was my sense, like, well, that was my fear at the time. No, like, definitely. We have to actually do this, or we're gonna get fired. And if we get fired, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We gonna die. But because these other motherfuckers, they had money. They probably had parents and shit that would send them money. They were just doing it for fun. They didn't give a fuck. They just wanted something to go to the club with and throw their money in the club. But like to me, it's like we actually kind of need this shit. I can't just be sitting around here with you guys listening to music in the hallway. So I painted those rooms. You know, Marmy and the Snyder?
Yeah.
I painted basically every room in Snyder.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
You know, they'll get to a point.
Rooms.
Yeah.
I've done some things in those rooms, to those walls.
We all have, brother. But I remember one day, I was painting a room, and there was one desk I got to, because you gotta, underneath the desk, the desks were like built into the wall. I went into it, right, and I went underneath the wall, but I don't know for what reason I actually climbed up under the desk, and I looked at it, right? It was a beautiful sight, because it was just rows upon rows upon rows upon, like, just names of, like, people. It was like, such and such lived in his room 2001. Such and such lived in his room 2002, 2003, all the way up to 2013. I was like, wow, this is crazy, man.
Yeah.
I wonder what these people are doing nowadays, man. Like it's crazy. Like it was stretching back to like back in the day. So I went into the other room and I seen those rooms and I was like 1991, 1992, 1993, such and such lived in this room. And I was like, damn, man. For some reason that just kind of hit me. I was like, wow.
Would you?
I'm probably the only other person besides the people who wrote these rooms and lived in them who's ever seen anything.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a crazy position to be in. That's a great experience to have with everything else going around. For a month, stop being paid, and then I was working Dollar Tree at that time, and they weren't paying anything. I remember at one point in time, I think I had $1.35, and gas was like $1.60. And I walked up into that, gas station with a shitload of change. And I had my tank would be on E. It would be chronically on E. I don't know how we got through it, how I got through it, but my tank was always on E. And I remember putting $1 in like some change. I don't even know how much change, but it was just bullshit. And then the person looked at me and was just like, "Yeah, I've been there." I was like,
"We all have."
Just put the money in the drawer, sir. I'm not trying to have a relationship with you. And then I went in and I put the gas on, you know, and it went clink, clink.
Yeah, man. Oh, bro. It's crazy, like, how things change. Because I'm a fast forward in life way far, right?
Yeah.
Back to, like, my last 6 months when I was living in Korea, right?
Yeah.
This round when the pandemic happened. I understand that the pandemic was bad for a lot of people. I understand that a lot of people lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, lost their houses, lost their lives.
Yeah.
But 2020 was the year for me, man.
Okay, let's
2020 was the fucking year. 2020 was the best year of my fucking life, dog. I'm sorry if anybody out there, if I disrespected anybody by saying that, if anybody feels bad about it. But 2020 was my fucking year, man. Because we were in Korea, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It was March. I remember the day. It was March 14th. Because that moment I had a paper and I was looking at it and I looked at it every day. Right? March 14th. Me and my homegirl Dukes, we went to our outposting break because that was the time where like a year in Korea was coming up. And they said we had to go to this, so they could like outprocess us back to go into America and going and getting all that shit done, right? In the middle of this outprocessing brief, some random first sergeant, female first sergeant, came in. It's like, I'm sorry to inform all of you, but none of you are going home. The corona, at the time when they're still calling the coronavirus, the coronavirus has put us down on a permanent lockdown to stop movement.
Chill.
Damn, kid.
Chill, it's that part of the night. Chill, bro. Continue with your goddamn story. The coronavirus, before it was called COVID, corona.
The coronavirus has stopped, has initiated an immediate stop movement.
Yeah.
And until further notice, all of you are going to continue to be here in Korea, in Camp Casey. And then everybody in the room was like, what the fuck is coronavirus? I ain't never heard of that shit before. I was like, I had just briefly heard of something like that was going on in China or whatnot. But like, this was the first time I was like, oh, this shit is actually real. This is a real thing. And so I was me and her were real depressed. She walked off to we caught a cab back to the barracks. She walked off to where she was going from. And then I walked off to my barracks room. And I just chilled out for the rest of the day. And then that's when it started, man. That's when the miracle began.
Really? Sure.
Because I'm gonna take it down for you, right?
Yeah.
There was no more PT. That's when they stopped PT. We didn't do PT anymore because we couldn't be in large formations anymore. They stopped. We didn't do PT for like the entire length of the time I was there.
Yeah.
We did half days.
Oh,
The half days were like we split up our group because we worked in that C&E shop where I was over a group of soldiers, young kids and whatnot. I had like 7 soldiers that I believe that I had, and there was I had another homie of mine. He had another 7 soldiers, so we had me and him. We had 14 soldiers in between us. There were 16 soldiers. We had 2 NCOs. He had an NCO over him, and an NCO over me. And then I had another buddy along with me as well, and he had another buddy on him, and then we had an NCO above him, and then 2 NCOs above that. Then we had another platoon and whatnot. We split it down in the middle, right? So half the platoon worked in the morning, half the platoon worked at night, or worked in the evening time. So it's from, I think I remember, from 9 to 1300, and then from 13 to 1700, right? And then we switch over every week.
So 9 to 5? 9 to 5, you were in control of a large group of soldiers?
So
just because the
right now it was just 9 to 1.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just 9 to 1. I would be in control of a group of soldiers or whatnot, and then that would be for a week.
Yeah.
And then the next week I'd be in control of same group of soldiers, but it'll be in the afternoon, it'll be from like 1 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working half a day, getting paid full check, right?
Yeah.
And not only the full check, but you over there, you get your cola. So normally I would have getting paid like $9.95. I was getting paid $1,300. And over there in the Korea, like I was telling you before, their dollar is worth less than ours. So not only was I making the extra amount of money for a quarter of the work, because we didn't do PT, I only worked 1/3 of the day. So I was making triple the amount of money, right? And guess what, right? Because most of the soldiers I was telling you, they were like young. They were like young kids, 18, 19 kids. Kids that at the time I felt bad for. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers y'all don't belong here. Y'all too young. Like, because at the time I was 25, turning 26. I'm like, y'all are too young for this shit. And this is at another time when I was telling you about in the army about like all the shit that I went through when I was JBLM. That was the army for me. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers would have never survived a couple of years ago when I was going through the shit when it was every man for itself. But things have changed now or whatnot. But so we have these young kids right here. They didn't know nothing. They didn't know how to open up a bank account. They didn't know how to do their taxes. They didn't know how. They didn't know a lot of stuff. Some of them were still virgins or whatnot. So one of our NCOs, one of our staff sergeants, she was like, all you guys are gonna come into the shop on one day, and you all gonna do your tax returns with me. I'm gonna teach you all how to do it, right? I'm like, I already know how to do my tax returns. But it doesn't matter. Everybody's gonna come in, and we all did our tax returns at the same time. It was like a lineup. We lined up in the hallway. We shut down the shop for that day. We shut down the shop for the entire day, and we all just lined up, and we all just went into the room and did our tax returns.
That's crazy. Was he a good sergeant?
He was a great sergeant. Like, all our sergeants over there at this time were great. They were great people. So helped us. We all did it, tax return. So we all got paid at the same time. So apparently, when the pandemic happened, it happened like this. We got paid a check, right? We got paid on the first, and then the next week we got a tax return, and then the next week we got a stimulus check.
Damn.
And then the next week we got paid again. And then we're like, what the fuck? And then something else happened where we got paid the next week as well. And then the next week came through, it's like, oh shit, man, we got all this money coming through, and then we're getting paid again. And then we were just balling. You know, it went from us being like, man, I can't go out to the bar, man, I only got $15 on me and shit like that, to motherfuckers having 16, like, I used to be broke at that, man. Broke, man, because we used to go out there, we used to ball and shit, we used to drink a lot, whatnot. And like, at any given time at the end of the month, you have like $15 waiting for your check to come through. To being like, check it out. I'm on one time, like, we went to my buddy, right? My buddy Dylan. I was like, hey, yo, man, me and the crew, we better roll out to Wijangbu, right? Better go to the spaghetti house out there and get some food. He was like, man, I can't go out, I'm broke. I'm like, what you mean you broke? Cause like, I only got 3 G's in the bank, I'm broke. And I'm like, oh man, bro, you suffering, dog. I remember saying that shit. I'm like, bro, you suffering, dog. Cause I'm like, bro, it was for real, though. Yeah. Cause we were making bank. We were making bank. Yeah. And during the pandemic, the base shut down. You couldn't leave post. Yeah. And we were working half days and whatnot. Every day we had a barbecue. Every day at the NCO, because I was living in the NCO barracks. Every day we had a barbecue. It was a triple stack building, right? I stayed on the 2nd floor, and my NCO, he stayed in a room right above me. So every day after work, he would scream. He would lean over the balcony, right, and he would scream that, "Yo, Harris, what? You ready?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, I'm good." He's like, "All right, meet us downstairs in like 20 minutes." I'm like, "Roger that, sir." And he would go down, go to the stove, we get some drink, we get some meat, we put it on the grill, we barbecue, had some drinks. We ain't got nowhere to be in the morning, man. We ain't got to be to work till like fucking one in the afternoon and shit like that. Sure. So we partying, we was drinking, we were having intercourse with women. With women and such. A lot of women. And because there was nothing else to do. There was nothing else to do besides drink, party.
So are you saying in a society where a man gets all his bills paid and has a job that makes him feel like, you know, he has some integrity in the universe, all he will do is make money and fuck? We need to make society, that little sect of your life, we need to copy it, we need to bottle it. People in NASA are looking up how to make reality good. Whatever happened to this man in the year of 2020, that for that stint in his life, we need to figure out how to replicate that shit.
Man, that was lightning in a bottle. That was a specific case in a specific matter. We were at the right place, at the right time, at the right moment, getting that money in our pocket, getting built up. I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 grand at a time, man. If I had anything less than 4 bands in my pockets, like, man, I ain't going outside, dog. I'm not even going outside. I'm just waiting until I get paid again. I'm broke, man. I ain't got no money, dog. And then, like, we go out and we just, like, go to the bar. We go to whatever bars that we could go to because everything was on restriction and whatnot. And that was a part of the reason why, like, our stacks grew up so much because we weren't spending on anything outside of it. So we just go out, buy some drink, come back. Drink out there was really inexpensive or whatnot. You get a big ass bottle of gin for like $20 or whatnot. Come back to the post. And that's when my swag really got upgraded. Like I got a watch, I got a big the watch I got the watch, got the chain, got the bracelet, got the braid, got my hair. My hair was fabulously cut. I was immaculate at all times.
You also were swole as shit.
I was swole as a motherfucker too.
Swole as shit. It's still swole.
Yeah. But at that time I was brolic. I was brolic too because at that time they put us on alcohol restrictions on post. And this was back when I was coming back from, this is another time, but I was at Sutsi at the moment, right? Well, I just got off at Sutsi and whatnot, and I was still somewhat indulging in alcohol, but I was trying to cut back, and I felt that I needed to change my life around and incorporate some healthier habits into my life. But I still like to drink, you know what I'm saying? But you could only purchase one alcoholic beverage a day. And whether it be a big bottle or it be a small bottle of soju or whatnot. So I was like, so I made it to myself, like, I will drink 1 bottle of soju a day. I went to the store, but I would go at the final 30 minutes of the store before it would close. And I would buy 1 bottle of soju. But the thing was, on the way back from the store was the gym. So I had no excuse not to go. Even if I went in and just did some curls or whatnot, I did something every day. And that's how I got so big. Every day I went to the gym and every day I worked my ass off. So I deserved that drink. I was like, I would not drink unless I physically felt like I deserved it because I earned it in the gym.
Okay, shit.
And that's a fair way I feel like, that's an extreme example of like how I feel like physical fitness should be, right? It's not so much as, hey man, I'm gonna drop everything and then do this. It's like, fitness really is, it's a lifestyle. You have to change your life around and you have to like incorporate exercise, proper diet, nutrition into your regular life. It has to be something that you don't think about, that you just do. You feel me? Because if you're just like, oh yeah, for my New Year's resolution, I'm gonna go to the gym or whatnot and everything, and it's gonna be a new life, that's not gonna work. Because you have to make it to a point to where like going to the gym or just working out is a regular part of your daily schedule. You know what I'm saying?
Let me piggyback back off of that. So like I've been trying to date this girl and she's really cute and shit like that. But every time she tells me what you're doing after work, I'm like, I'm cleaning. And I'm cleaning horribly, shittily, and shoppily. And I said it earlier in this conversation that I'm cleaning. But that's because my mentality is a motherfucker. Guess what? I cleaned today, I cleaned yesterday, I cleaned the day before yesterday, I'm gonna clean tomorrow, I'm gonna keep fucking cleaning. Because eventually it's just gonna be what I do. Just like running. People say, oh, how do you run? Because I just run. I run shitty, I walk, I remember somebody tried to give me money running. Because they're like, oh, are you poor? Why are you running outside in the heat, in the Florida sun? I was like, because I'm a runner.
That's just what I do. And she's gonna ask me tomorrow, what are you doing after work? Oh, I'm gonna clean. Are you gonna come over? If you come over, yeah, come over. Whatever happens, happens. But at this point in time, I'm building in my mind that cleaning is just something I fucking do every day. It's just a part of what I do, just like running. Like I can run 10, 20 miles right now. It's just what I do. And when it comes to forming a habit and it's just becoming what you do and a part of you, you know, it needs to be something that you do that most people are like, why are you cleaning again? Why are you running again? I remember before I moved to where I'm at now, I lived in a house filled, you know, the 5-bedroom house. It was kind of down the road from here, and it was really nice. It was a pretty nice place to live. But one of the roommates there was like, "Why are you running every day?" I was like, "Why are you not?" Like, what you mean? Why am I running every day? Because I want to be better every day. I want this day to be as great as it can be, and it's just what I do. I'm a runner now. It's not like it's hard for me anymore. It's just a part of what I do. Sergio gets up and Sergio runs. Sergio gets up, Sergio gets up, Sergio runs, Sergio cleans. When I see a mess, now it's just like, fuck, I need to clean this mess. Because this mess is a reflection of me now. And as a person who cleans, I need to take care of it. So kind of like what you're saying, well, okay, well, I'm going to treat myself to some soju once a day. And I want to quit, so this is actually the perfect environment, or not quit, but slow down. This is a perfect environment because I can get some drink, I can enjoy that, and I can go work out. I can combine both of my vices, and I think that's amazing. That's really intuitive. Did you expect yourself to do that though? To go to utilize everything that happened? Because it sounds like not only with the drink restriction, but what happened at work was a restriction, but you didn't see it as a restriction.
What it was like I had an idea of what I wanted, but in reality, the truth is, the God honest truth is, if I had planned this shit would have blown the expectations out of the water for everything. What I was saying, like, you know, 2020 is like, if I had really like put down a plan for everything that happened, it would not have matched up to the reality of what the situation of what it exceeded all expectation. The money that I made, the women that I was with, the gains that I made, the friends that I made, you know. I became a part of like that immediate like community outside of Dungeness. I met a lot of people. I became friends with those people, man. Friends that I still have that I talk to this day, that call me every day, that communicate with me. It's like, hey man, how you doing, man? This is what we doing up here. Like, it'd be night over here, but it's day over there. It's like, hey man, good night, I'm going to bed, man. It's like, hey, good morning from over here in this way, man. I still have women that, you know, I was engaged with, talk to. They still talk to me. It's like, I miss you. When you come back, we should hang out. We should go get something to eat. We should hang. I still got a spot here. I still got friends over there. It's like, hey man, when you come back, I got a spot for you, man. Your stuff is still here, man. I got stuff over there in Korea that said like, I'm gonna come and pick it up when I come back. It's like, your stuff's still here. When you come through, man, hang out with me. We're gonna have a drink, get something to eat and such. Like, these were like, I met a lot of good people.
That's fucking dope.
I met friends that I will hold on to for the rest of my life.
Dude, shoot, that's freaking dope, man.
Even so, the troops, man, I still talk to on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, man. These were like, we bonded because we were friends, and like with the troops and the soldiers, we were like, I'm kind of slowing my words now. I apologize. The jizz kind of hit me right now.
Yeah.
But it was like we were all foreigners in a foreign land or whatnot. So the bond that we made was so tight and whatnot. To this day, we're still close. We're still friends. We're still like the best of buddies. We're like brothers in the army and shit. And that's what it's all about, man. That's what life is.
Definitely. That's dope. I've had some dope experiences where I've met people and we've built relationships. But one of the things that I'm doing in my life that I'm trying to step away from, and thank God I learned this, is just having friends who are constantly going forward and go-getters, and having friends who are constantly having their foot on the gas pedal. When you have these friends, you gotta understand, you gotta be okay with letting these friends go and letting these friends develop and stuff like that, because if everybody in your friend group is getting after it, we are a very busy group of people. We are a very eclectic group of people. We are a very different group of people, and we're constantly going and going and going. And to be honest, if I have to do a speech today, the speech was asked of me 6 months ago. I gotta write for it, and I have to do my job, do X, Y, and Z, and get this prepped and get ready to be live on air, on TV. I have to go shake hands with these people. This was planned for 6 months, and I may have, at this point while I'm doing the speech, forgot why I even agreed to the speech in the first place. The person who agreed to the speech, you know, who's standing in front of this level of affluence, has carried out a commitment that he made half a year prior. And when you're with these people who are going so heavily towards their dreams, who have indomitable wills, or just unstoppable people, that you got to understand that they made a commitment years ago to maybe God or whatever deity they believe in at that point in time. And when you ask them, oh, how do you do this? They're operating from a level of faith that those seeds were sowed a while ago. So when people say that successful people are lonely, it's not that. It's just their reality is tied to so many different things. I mean, think about all the good things that happened to you. It resulted from a contract that you signed to join the military years and years ago, and you went through a lot of bullshit.
A lot of bullshit.
As a person who's been through the indoctrination process, is probably a bad term, but
it is very much. It is what it is. There are many ways that you could say it. There are many poetic like headers or like silhouettes that you could add to it, many verbs and adverbs and conjunctions or any form of other polite forms of language that you can apply to it, but that is what it is.
Yeah.
It is a large gang.
Yeah. It's a fraternity. It's a fraternity I wouldn't fuck with. The military, like, is a fraternity I wouldn't fuck with. All these other fraternities that you get into, and
they all have their merit and whatnot.
But this oath is a bit different. Like military, police, EMT, people have to deal with the possibility of death, whether it's themselves or somebody else. Anybody in those positions, because you're playing a game with lives, and you're swearing an oath to protect lives.
And even within that oath, it's like you have the full on military right there, the armed forces, then you have the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, the Coast Guard and whatnot. And then in between, in all of those, like in the Army, you have the infantry, you have combat engineers, you have the Ordnance Corps and all that. And even within the Ordnance Corps, you have different branches of that. You have like the IT guys, and then you have like people like me, the 94 Fox Corps, where it's just like you have 94 Foxes, you have the 94 X-rays, you have the 94 Echoes and whatnot, and each one is like a different group, have a different personality trait accustomed to them. And we have different ways that we communicate with each other towards like how the greater group communicates with each other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
It's like coaches within coaches within coaches within coaches.
I was in 88, so I was a part of the 88 series. So the 88 series is it's logistics. All 88s are logistics, So 88s are so gritty and so damn laid back because they're the truck drivers and they do the trucks on these convoy operations.
One almost killed me one time.
And they drive for 8 and 12 hours straight in military zones. This isn't, respect. First of all, truck driving's hard and logistics is hard, but being on the road, if you make one mistake, lives are in your hand constantly because you have an X amount of ton vehicle, let alone an X amount ton vehicle, whatever's in the back of it, whether it's gasoline or stuff to handle other stuff. But but the 88 series, I was a logistics, right? I was a logistics management coordinator. So I was a person who did route planning. So I was a bookie of people who all drived and managed and worked vehicles. Everybody in the 88 series was a truck driver, was a boat driver, was a plane driver. They physically did work. I was a tech. So I did the route planning. So there was really no respect. But then again, without the logistical brain, all logistics wouldn't be able to, happen. And so the brotherhood in the logistics fam is hilarious because in the military, of course, you got the infantry and, we hold them in the high regards. And then the medics, we hold them in the highest regards as well. And then, our special forces. But then when you get into the jobs where they respect truck drivers, but I ain't even a truck driver. I'm a dispatcher. You a dispatcher? What you do? I make phone calls. I make phone calls.
I make shit happen, bro.
I make sure you get fed, dog. Leave me alone.
Check it out, right? We were back in Yakima, it was back when I was at JBLM, right? It was at Yakima.
Yeah.
So there's a whole story about it, right? But this part, right? We went on a mission where we had to drop off some material, right? In the truck. I was just riding with them, right? Because they needed TC, right? And I was the most responsible troop they could find at the time. So I was riding with this guy. We had dropped off some stuff, and it's probably a 3-hour trip there, 3-hour trip back. And really more 4 or 5 hours, because military vehicles they have to drive slowly, but regularly it would have been 3 hours, but 4 or 5 hours. We were driving, hauling the shit, 2 and 4. And when we finally got to where we were going, right? It was at the top of this mountain. Top of this big ass mountain. We got to the very top of this mountain. We had one turn to go to where we got. We've been driving for 4 or 5 hours, right? We got to the very top of where we were going to go. There was one turn. We were hauling some gas. We were hauling 2 tanks of gas behind us, right? And there was one turn. We were going towards it, right? On the top of this mountain, we're at the top of the mountain, right? And this guy, he's driving. He's going forward. And there were a couple of trucks going before us because we were in a convoy. They turn, they make the turn and whatnot. And then I noticed something, we're not turning. We keep going straight. We're going straight. We're not turning. The turn's behind us right now. I look over, right? And the guy driving, he's asleep. The guy's asleep on the wheel like this.
He was driving?
Yeah, he was asleep. He's just on the wheel. He's passed out. It's all just hey bro, wake up, man.
Why, he's driving?
Yeah, he's asleep. He's dead ass asleep. He's going. And it's the vehicle's just going straight. We're hauling 2 tanks of gas, right? At the top of this mountain. And it's and I was hey bro, wake up, man. Wake up. And he was what? And then what happened was he panicked, right? As he was that was the scary part. Him falling asleep was I just woke him up. But when he panicked, that's when he swerved and shit. And he swerved and we came close to the edge. We came close to that. Matter of fact, if I had to woken him up, I think we would have been better off. If I did, because he swerved so much, right? And we came straight. I think we were probably maybe at 2 feet from the edge. If we had went any further than that, we probably would have fell off, and we probably would have rolled off all the way to the bottom into a fiery grave. That would have been crazy. That would have been epic.
No, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, it would have.
I would have been pissed as hell.
But it would have been great, man. Think about it. Like, how did Dwayne Harris go out? Man, that motherfucker went at a fiery explosion. He fell off a mountain, dog. Yeah, he went up like, boom!
No.
That would have been great.
What
man.
happened is Wayne Harris perished in the arms of his loving family with a big ass harem of wives and lots of children, and you know.
That's cool too, but you know, say this nigga, how did nigga die? This nigga went up, boom, explosion, fell off a mountain. How many niggas you know drive off a fucking mountain and explode? Bam!
You know what kills most of our friends is table salt. Table salt, sodium, and diabetes.
But this nigga Wayne Harris went out like a bomb, boom.
Damn.
I would have, like, you would have seen a cloud of smoke come up through, and you would have seen, like, the smoke would have formed and face me like, alright, y'all, I'm at this bitch.
Remember, this is towards the end, I think, of our poorer days, and this is when you finally start getting checks coming in. And I think I was driving you to, South Florida? West
You drove
Palm
me to the train station.
train station, and we got into a car accident.
And the lady ran into us.
This lady was on the phone, and she admitted to the police she was on her phone, and she was not paying attention, and she rear-ended me to the point. If a police tactic and a military tactic is called a fishtail, it's where you hit the back of the car. She hit with her large. She fishboned us, but the night prior I was playing video games, which is serendipity. But the night prior we were Roger, we were Roger, and he had I think it was Forza or something, and I was just playing video games the whole night. I was playing a race car game, and I was bored and drunk, so I was just playing in the grass. And when you're in the grass, it's super slippery, and you have to counter steer. So when she fishboned us, I personally believe that since I was playing 6 hours of Forza doing nothing but playing in the grass in the most slickest, I was drifting. When she fishboned us, I immediately turned left. So she's hitting us this way from the back, turning the car right. I immediately turned left because I knew how the car was going to angle because I was so used to being in fucked up positions from the night prior. I was like, and then we corrected, and she went insane. Her car went
all the way to the grass. I remember, like,
all
it
the
drove off grass. She was driving, turned around. Like, I think she was facing the other direction.
Dumb shit. She was just doing dumb shit. She auto corrected, and then we were watching her at the safe side of the road, and when the cars passed, I drove over to her. And she was going what seemed like shock. And not because she was injured, but just because the moment. She was in shock. And I grabbed her hands. And I knew I was a 6'2" person who looks like me. She was a 6'8", 5'6" Caucasian woman. And she was just terrified. And I grabbed her hands. I got lower than her gait. I shortened myself. I literally was on my knees holding her hand. I said, you gotta breathe, you gotta relax. Because she was going into shock, and you don't need to be hit to go into shock, but she hit us, and even though she was in safety at that point, she was mentally still in the crash, and you can see it in her eyes. And at her age, I assumed she was gonna have a heart attack or some shit if she would have kept spazzing out like she was. And then what's crazy is she hit us. I was consoling her. Another woman who saw the accident came out and was like, what are you doing to this lady? I'm like, ma'am, I'm literally...
Suck dick, bitch.
I don't know if you remember the other lady who just stopped because she wanted to save everyone. But she did nothing to help. She called the authorities, and the authorities arrested me because I'm me and she's her. And in America, when a person who looks like me gets into an altercation, the assumption is that it's possible. The assumption is that this younger person, not just a person of color, but this younger person, and I had a kibber on too. I had a little speedster, so she had like a Kia or some shit, but they put me in the back of that car swiftly. And what was fucked up is that when I tried to call her insurance for hitting me, her insurance didn't exist. So the insurance numbers they gave me were incorrect. They took whatever the fuck she said. and they tried to take me to jail that day for whatever, but they couldn't. Listen, the moral of the story is when the police arrest you, remain calm. Don't.
The moral of the story is when a motherfucker hits you and they drive off into a ditch, leave their ass in the ditch.
Oh, leave them. Yeah.
Fuck that nigga. He tried to fuck me over. If that motherfucker crash and burn, let their ass crash and burn.
We could have all died. Huh? We could have all died.
Yeah. Fuck that motherfucker right there. If you hit me, bitch, and then your ass crash, your ass staying back there. I ain't stopping for you, bitch.
No, I should have. Well, if I would have. Well, it doesn't matter because she didn't give me a thank you letter and she avoided all my calls when I was trying to get the insurance, and I was put on horrible insurance. When you get into a car accident, you have to do like SSR insurance, and it was like 3 times the amount. So I went from $200 to like $600. I had to have this insurance for like a year for them to take it off. And it was crazy, man.
Let me tell you about back end of 2017, right? And I spoke too fast right there. Sometimes I do that, right? But maybe I didn't learn my lesson. Right? Maybe I did. When I was just driving down the street right there because 2017, it was like December that time. And I was driving down the street, just just going for a ride in my Mazda 2. My little red Mazda 2, I love that car, man. A little small, like speaker box. It was basically a speaker on wheels. But the thing, like, that thing would bump. That thing could bump. But it was just that, it was fast. It was swift. And I was just like, riding down the street, chilling, man. But it was raining that day. It's Washington. It's like wintertime. It does that. It's all the time. So I'm just riding down the street, not really thinking too much about nothing. I just listening to my music and shit. Like, it's what I normally do. Normally do to clear my mind and shit. Listen to my music, like bumping and shit. And I'm going down the street, and there's this guy. He makes a turn. In the opposite lane, I'm going like this. He comes like this. And when I see him coming, I hit the brakes immediately. But it's slick. The road is slick. It's so slick that I'm like, I remember I was only going 30 miles an hour, right? Because that was the speed limit, right? I was going 30 miles an hour. I remember that too. And I was like, I hit the brakes and I was like, but I couldn't stop in time. And I hit him in his right side fucking passenger side door. Hit him right there. My car, accordion my car like this.
Fuck.
Broke it down, like,
oh.
His car flew off in one direction. My car just rolled off into like the parking lot of his
30 miles an hour? Holy shit! How fast was he going?
I don't know how the fuck. He wasn't going fast. That was the issue, that he wasn't going fast enough for the turn he was making. He just went, but he was going like probably maybe like 15 maybe. And I tried to stop because he was just, and I hit the brake and I just hit him. Car immediately crumbled, right? Rolled off into like this fucking parking lot right now. I got out the car and I was like, because I remember I had a little stand too. I had a little stand for my phone that I had, and my phone like bent over, like went over to my face, that way I can just like didn't have to reach over. I can just swipe up next song, get like directions and all that shit like that. That thing, it snapped off my phone. I had a light-proof phone at the time. The stand of the phone, it broke off. And it just ricocheted throughout the entire car. When I got the phone, it was all the way in the trunk. And shit, the fucking airbag went off into my face. Car rolled off into the parking lot. I got out of the car like. The first thing I was wondering, I was like, yo, this dude alright, man? What the fuck was that? So I left my car. I was like, hey, bro, you good, man? He was like, yeah, man, what's going on? You didn't see me? I'm like, didn't see you, motherfucker. You didn't see you. You didn't see me, man. This is not how you drive, dog. But at the time, it was like, because it was such a cataclysmic fucking event, I wasn't even angry. I was just happy that we were both alive. And then the funny thing about it is that there was a police officer literally right behind me as the crash happened. And he pulled up and he immediately went to go talk to the dude, right? And here's where the shit gets crazy. So I'm like sitting in the parking lot like, damn, man, look at my shit. What do you know? Fucking NCO come by, fucking platoon sergeant rolls up too. Because he lived right around the corner. He rolled up to the gas station because he was going to the store. And he comes out the car and he immediately starts barking at me. He's like, fucking Harris, what the fuck are you doing? You been drinking and driving, man? I know you been drinking, man. Because I drink, man. I drink. He's like, you been drinking and driving, fighting color with your ass and all this shit, man. Your ass going down, man. It was like, the police officer, he had to come around. He's like, sir, please. He's not at fault for anything. The police officer like, I saw everything. He was in the right. This guy cut him off, crossed him off. He's good. Nothing's gonna happen to this guy. I'm gonna put in the word for him. And then he was like, he immediately was like, oh, all right. That's when you have to. He was like, oh, all right, my bad, Harris, man. You need a ride home? It's like, yeah, man, you can take me home. He's like, cool. Because, like, you have to learn that this shit isn't personal. Like, that's like what I was saying. Like, shit isn't personal. That was his job to perform. To act like he was acting. That was his job, right? But once he learned, like, oh, you weren't at fault for the crash? Oh, cool, man. Hey, we'll get a tow truck to come pick your shit up. I'll drop you back at the bed. I was like, all right, cool, man. So, like, I called. It's funny because even though I was on the phone with my squad leader when he came up. I called him and was like, yo, I just got into a wreck or whatnot. And then that's when he pulled up, and soon something pulled up, and like he was yelling at me and whatnot. So we all coordinated. It's like, hey, yeah, Harris might not be able to make it to a formation for the next couple of days or whatnot because he got into an accident or whatnot. We need to cut him some time so he can fix the shit he's got going on with his car. And so he drove me back to my barracks and whatnot. Now here's the shit, right? That was crazy as fuck, right? Now this motherfucker just barked down my neck for drinking and driving. You know what I had in my room, right? I had me a bottle of Seagull's gin. Yeah. He was like, bro, let me get a shot of that. I was like, Saul, you can't drink and drive? He was like, boy, be quiet. Let me get some of that. And I was like, all right. So he took a couple shots and he rolled off, and I was like, this goddamn motherfucker. Like,
shit. Yeah, that's probably my one regret is not going to active, because that sounds like just a hellish. I think people, you have those experiences of craziness, just life.
We meet the most interesting, diverse type of people.
Nah, I met some motherfuckers in the reserves, and I've had these weird ass experiences, but a lot of it was just like people not expecting great shit to happen. And then when great shit happened, they were just so unaware and unabashed by it. Like, I won so many awards and all this bullshit, and I seemed so cool in my unit. I seemed so cool. Like, they're like, oh, Velasquez is the dude. Velasquez is the guy. Why are you getting out of the military? Nobody knew why. Because really, honestly, it's nobody's business. Everybody's personal choice is their personal choice. But when I was getting out, they're like, you have so much. Why would you leave? I was like, you don't understand. It's like you have your regular civilian job, but then you have your military job. So chronically, I had to live as a civilian, but the military rules stay the same in civilian life. So if you get in trouble, get a DUI, smoke weed, do anything, then you're still subject to UCMJ. So now it's like you got two fucking government entities you have to abide by, and no one knows this. Like, I never grew my hair out. This is the first time. January is the first time I was able to grow my hair out in years. And then in high school, I was in ROTC, and in college, I was in ROTC. So I've had my hair short for the better part of 15 years, 14, 15 years. And I was groomed in this environment for the better part of 14, 15 years. So at the tail end, when I say I want to get out and be like, well, I just want to experience what life is like where I don't have to be in a regimented society. People thought I was crazy because I excelled. My PT scores are always stellar, and, all the awards and accolades. And they're like, why would you let all this go? In 20 years, you could be a general and this, that, and the third. I was like, I've already been in here for like 15 years. You guys just don't understand.
They say me in 20 years I can excel at something.
Yeah.
20 years, that can be something.
Thank you.
Not now, but 20 years.
In 20 years, you could be something. You could be, if you just stick this out, you could be. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good, man. I've seen this. I know it. You know, I used to be like an armed exhibition drill team commander. I should be the regular drill team commander. So I know everything back and forth, and the shit people are yelling at. Sometimes they're yelling because they need to yell at somebody. They need to look like they need to yell at somebody.
It's the job. It's all part of the job.
You know, like they don't take it personal. And it's not that I took everything personal. I was just like, I don't want to indulge in the game. But then life has a very game-esque quality to it. So it's like, if you say you don't want to indulge in life's game, that's dangerous. But if you say you don't want to indulge in the military game, that might be the lowest common denominator of acceptability of a game that you can opt out of. Because life is a game, and like, there's no opting out, you know? There's none.
It is what it is until it's over.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't choose to be here, but you're here. And you gotta do what you gotta do.
And I met the coolest motherfuckers. I think you're cool as fuck. Everybody's
Likewise,
really fucking cool, interesting ass people with like just crazy ass fucking lives. It's like,
Crazy, man.
what the fuck? And it's not everybody, because you know everybody has their own story. But not every story is cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody been through some cool shit. Like, you know, like, what did you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? And, but like, you know, like, I think you have a cool life, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it. I hope that my life, you know, just, you know, that you see it, that it's like, it's cool too.
Dope as shit, man.
Yeah.
Life has been chill.
It's been good.
And it's
Where
only
we
gonna get
came
better.
from our types of environment on some real shit. Real shit. We ain't supposed to be here.
But we are.
And even being able to communicate with one another, this is not supposed to happen. It's not. In any other sector of society, a person who looked like me and a person who looked like you would have been dire enemies, especially in the environments we came up in. We could have shifted, but for whatever reason, fuck it.
We here, we living life, man. It's been beautiful, man. Like, woke up today, the sky was blue, sun was out, the birds were chirping, as it normally is. Because it's beautiful, man. It's lovely, man. A lot of people out here, they go out here, they make the wrong decisions, they fuck up, they do everything under the sun that is wrong, and then get upset when they reap the benefits of their wrong decisions. But that's a discussion for another time.
You know what? I think that the most fucked up people in the world become president. I think that's it. I really do. I think if you're an asshole, you hold it for the rest of your life, you don't have any repentance or forgiveness for yourself, your destiny is to become president.
I don't know, man.
Really? No.
Like,
it's not that I don't like presidents, I just don't like the job. I think it's the worst fucking job on the planet.
I can see how it'd be very
like,
stressful.
that's a punishment. Like, that's a punishment, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I don't know.
How I feel about that is really... Alright, we better go down this road, man. We better go down this road.
Yeah,
let me drink this.
What time is it? We're here.
We're here. We're about to do this thing. Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, this is the whole thing. So we're about to do it.
Wait. I have to use the restroom.
Alright, yeah. You go through open the door, right?
Yeah.
When you go through, go straight through.
Yeah.
And latrine will be, once you bust it right, it'll be all the way there. You can't miss it. And it literally has the words restroom on the door.
Roger that. Topic, presidents, and
Hell yeah.
hold it.
What's good, y'all? My friend is going to utilize the latrine and whatnot. Life is good. It's a beautiful thing. Everything has been swell so far. What's going on, folks? Damn, let me see.
presidents.
President. Well, this how I feel about the president. God damn, is that thing leaning again? With all of the people in charge, right? But specifically here, it's there really isn't that much control that they themselves have on their own. It's all within the governmental party or whatnot. And things like, because everything that they want to like possess and whatnot, it has to go through the political parties. I can't think of the name of what they call it at the time or whatnot, but you have all these representatives and such that critique the laws and whatnot. Particularly, all the president is a figurehead. They're the head. They're the person to blame or to congratulate when things go right or go wrong. But there are like hundreds of other people who are really the people that are really like putting the things that are really going into charge. And he's the final person that's like, yeah, it's a good idea or it's a bad idea or whatnot. Sure that he has some control of that thing that's going on, particularly when it comes to international relationship, because he is the one meeting with other leaders of other countries or whatnot. But in reality, when it comes over to us, he really doesn't really have that much real consolidated power. It's broken down between all these governors, because like not only is him, but it's the House of Representatives, and then there's the House of Self-Defense, and all these different parties and whatnot, and then they have their different leaders, and then they have break it down to each state, each individual state has governors, and each individual town has a mayor and all that shit like that. So he has only a certain amount of control over the reality of the situation and whatnot. But he's just the person that everybody looks to. It's like, this is the person who is like fucking the things up, or this is the person who is really like making things great or whatever. It's like fucking Dollar Tree is a fucking now $1.25 tree. Thanks, Obama, and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that. It's like really people out there who really genuinely believe, because people are just not educated enough to understand that the person that they see on screen, or the person, the plaque of the president, is not really the person who's really doing this shit. He's just the person that everybody's just looking at. Like, this is the face of the government right here. That's all he really is.
The only time the president has any type of power, like that type of power, is in a time of war. And you will notice, because then the presidential duties change, and then they can just consolidate resources in a different way. So if you look at like World War II, World War I, if you look at like the Marshall Plan, and look at the programs that were developed in war, don't look at the programs that are developed in peace, because it's all a fugazi in peace times. Because as you were saying, the political structure, the president is chose every 4 years, regardless of whether he gets accepted twice or not. The president is rechosen every 4 years. You need to look at the positions that are in politics where people hold them for 20, 40, 30, and like 50 years. You need to look at positions where people are allowed to be stagnant. And that's where you'll see the power of the government, not in a position that switches every 4 years. Policies change. It takes, for policies to change, it takes like 10 to 20 years. So a person whose life cycle is 4, you're shooting every messenger that you see. And if I were a politician, I would blame the president regardless of whether he was a Democrat or a Republican. I would blame the president for everything, because he's gonna change, and all the shit I do is gonna go unnoticed, because you're gonna assume that the president wrote the law. The president has no time to write all these laws. Now, we should have an extra position in our government. We need to have a minister, like a minister of the people, and the president is supposed to deal with foreign affairs. We need somebody to deal with things that are in CONUS, and we need a person like a minister, a new government position that takes care and is held
held to the standard of taking care of the people of America. Because the president is supposed to be the ambassador to all the nations, okay? He's supposed to maintain those relationships. We need a specific position, which was supposed to be the Secretary of State, but that position has devolved into, like, you know, just being an ass clown. So, that position, you know, so we just need a person who is voted for by the people to specifically take care of the people, because the president is voted for by the people to take care of foreign affairs. So you can already see there's an agency conflict with the position itself. In addition to that, people don't understand politics. You need to look at your governors, your commissioners, and every other position. People only care about the president because that's what everybody fucking talks about. No, don't be blinded by, you know, your excitement that you have a political presidential candidate that you forget about your governor, your mayor. Mayors are important. All these people are important. In Tampa, we had a $69 million housing grant bill. Nobody's paying attention to that. So what happens is those funds go to bullshit. And then everybody feels like they lost. But you were worried about the presidency, who has nothing to do with your daily life. And you forgot about the mayor that literally takes care of everything to do with your daily life. So people just need to figure this shit out. A lot of people are just ignorant, and they're ignorant and they're mad because they assume they know something, but they don't. Sorry.
Yeah, fine, man.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. It's truth, man. But when it comes down, like, to the politics and whatnot, even at a deeper level than that, when you get, like, the president, but when it gets to foreign, like, people fail that. I believe the reason why there isn't an administrator of the people is because you have the president, then you got these House of Representatives and the governors and whatnot. In reality, they too themselves are just shells for, like, the larger corporations that live here in America and whatnot. Like, not throwing any corporations out there, but those that, like, have the money that form these campaigns and whatnot. And usually, like, they are like the one that's like, I'm gonna give you $1 billion for you to do this, or say this, or do that, so our company can be like here and there and do this and do, like, be over in other countries or whatnot like this. You know what I'm saying? And then those companies are like, hey man, I want this group, like the Republican Party, to say this. And then go to the Democratic group, it's like, I want this party to say this. That way, with the happy medium, they can meet a happy medium. And what's the happy medium? Us. We're the best option, because, like, we're not good, we're not bad. We're just like, yeah, we're slightly better than the competition. But we want all, like, the narrative to be like, it's like, the best way I can explain it, it's a whole cloud. It's a cloud of misinformation that just leads everything to come down to, like, yeah, my corporation, my business is the best option for this. Like, you should drink my product.
It's like, who's gonna steal from you the least?
Yeah. It's like, look at us, man. Who's providing the best fucking anti-vaccines to, like, COVID-19? Us, our company. These other companies, they're shit, man. Look at this. We've been approved by government foundation. Why? Because we kind of paid them. No, because we're good, right?
Yeah. The thing is that there shouldn't be a limitation of 3 companies trying to fight the pandemic. There should be every company that feels like and shows evidence that they can resolve this issue. You gotta hit this problem with every fucking hammer you have at your disposal. That's what we need to do as a civilization and a society. Believe it or not, the 3 companies that America has presented aren't the same companies throughout the entire world. There might be other companies in Abu Dhabi and in Denmark that have a more potent form, but they're not going to show you that because the marketing, and it is marketing, because even when you go to get your shot, you still get to choose between the 3 shots you get, right? So if people are going towards one direction, it's like, damn it. It's still marketing, it's still capitalism. That's how capitalism kind of fucks shit up. I'm not trying to attack capitalism or anything like that, but
Like
when you start
capitalism has
eroding,
benefits.
it has its benefits, making the greatest, most powerful, most fastest economy in the fucking history of our reality. And if this is base reality, then in the history of existence. But then it has shit like that where if, now people are being funneled into not who helps people the best, but who can profit the most out of your
Who's the most
ability to-
successful?
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, man. I don't think it's a good plan because they forgot about vitamin D and standing out in sunlight, because that's also a
They got pills for that. They sell it.
Yeah, but
That's a corporation.
You need not just the pill form vitamin D. You need to be in sunlight. It's a
Yeah, but they
different
don't want you to
form
do that, right?
Yeah.
Because they can sell that shit. It's like, why sit in the sun when you can buy it, motherfucker?
No,
Buy it
you
for my
can't
company.
buy some. Listen, guys, you need vitamin D from a pill, which is great, or a multivitamin, but you also need sun rays. Photons and light hit your body different. You're physically designed to absorb sunlight.
There's another company for that. It's like, buy our motherfucking sun rays lamps right here. These right here have the power of the sun with them. These are solar fucking lamps right here. Buy our solar lamps right here. Give it to the governor. It's like, tell the people to buy our fucking solar lamps, man. We'll fucking fund your next campaign. It's like, all right, cool.
This is another conversation. I don't have the energy to battle the idiocracy that occurs, and this is how politics gets into capitalism, this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, all these people are trying to save themselves from ghosts of their past, and that's what it looks like. But yeah, I don't have the energy to.
I feel you on that, player. I feel you on that, man.
Or the excitement to talk about these people and this shit that I'm happy that motherfuckers did stuff. I wish they were more open and, with their plans of doing stuff. One of the plans to deal with COVID was to let everybody get it. That was a plan. That's a plan. In their books of plans they get when a situation occurs, because they get, okay, this happened, and then you have 1 through 10 options. And one of the options was to let people get it. And, one of the options was let people die. So they had to navigate the options. The thing I don't like is, I'm not going to say who, but one of our particular leaders said that, let the people kind of fend for themselves.
Yeah.
But if, history is going to tell it, not me. Let them teach it in school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good show, player. But we're coming down to the end of our broadcast. Is there anything left more that you would like to say, like to talk about, Mr. Velasquez?
Let's see. So I'm doing pretty good. The next year seems to be pretty stellar for me. I've talked to you before. I know your next year is gonna be stellar. Are you really gonna hook me up with a steak? Is that gonna happen? If not, it doesn't have to because it's late.
Yeah, is that? I get to see it in the fucking
3 a.m. steaks, man. Matthew McConaughey. Green Lights is a book. Y'all all should read this damn book. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. And I don't recommend shit. There's a guy named James Clear. He has a book, Atomic Habits. I recommend that book. Fucking Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. I recommend that book. I'm not a person to recommend things. I got into reading last year. I'm not an expert, but these 2 books I recommend, and I probably will never recommend a book again in my life, but those 2. Atomic Habits by James Clear, and then Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Those books have jewels that these people have gleaned from lives that they've lived, and they've lived crazy lives. So it's good folks, it's good company to be around. But that's it.
show, Batman.
You read anything? You got any, or do you digest any information?
I digest information all the time, but like at this time, we'll leave it for another time, you know what I'm saying? We'll just leave it on the shelf, but I just want to say that I'm glad that you came out here, man. I'm glad
Thanks
that
for
you
having
came,
me.
you know. It's my pleasure, it's my pleasure. Life has been crazy, I've been doing a lot of things. It's been great being a free man, experiencing the world for what it truly is right now outside of the U.S. Army. And I've been dipping and dabbing in a lot of things, here and there and here. And I'm just excited for where the journey's gonna lead me down the next road, man, because everything, whether it's been bad or it's been good, it's been something, man. It's been a story to tell, something that can tell people a lesson to learn. Like, I had some troops from my last unit. They hit me up earlier today before he came and whatnot. And it was like, man, you encouraged us, you know, to either stay in or get out or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I just felt that way. It's just like, God damn, man. I had that effect on people, man. So maybe I should go out and I should talk to more people. I should spread the word of what I got in my life. So people like can look at me as probably an example of what to be or what not to be. Like when I was in the fucking when I was in the fucking basic, right? When they put me up in front of the fucking battalion. And it's like, this man is an example of what not to be. He fucked up the FTX. I was like, I didn't even do anything.
Stand up in front of formation. Why are you such a fuck up? Yeah.
Cause it just is what it
You
is.
are a stellar example for everyone, man.
I don't know, man. I just do what I can, brother.
Let's go.
I just want to be me.
Let's go. Yeah, same here. Same here.
But thank you all for joining in. Those who did watch, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay cool, man. I catch y'all on the flip side. This was Dining with Dwayne, Gin and Juice Journeys with my boy Sergio Velasquez. One love, y'all.